a week.
Yeah, for you at least.
It's been a week for Jeff from Rage Select, and it's not even over yet. I don't like. Can we just skip to Monday? I'm afraid of what the weekend may hold for me. Yeah. I mean, but no matter what happens to me, we will always have the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select with me, Jeff.
I'm Mike.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but on Tuesday I had food poisoning.
I didn't know that one.
On Wednesday I completely destroyed my computer. And today my identity got stolen.
It's pretty amazing. I was gone for 24 hours and I come back for most of that.
Yeah. I haven't slept at all. And I'm just, I don't even know if I'm going to be salty this week. I'm more just like in a daze. Like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Well, that's second Jeff's problem now.
That's right.
There's two of you now.
Yeah, that other guy. You can take my fucking identity.
He lives in Atlanta.
You can goddamn have my goddamn identity. Like, take it. I don't want it anymore. You can deal with my neighbor in the tree in my backyard. That's apparently a thing.
He runs Select Rage.
That's right. It's Bizarro Jeff out there.
Exactly.
I like the idea that Bizarro Jeff is like super nice and easygoing and just like, hey guys, we all just really need to just get along.
He does ASMR.
Yeah, he does ASMR mukbangs and like is a very successful channel.
Yeah,
he's got like a lot of hair and no beard.
Just super fit.
He's got a white cat. Yeah,
very small cat though.
Yeah, and like a lot of kids. He's like a successful human being. Meanwhile, I'm over here like frantically ordering hard drives off of Amazon and like cobbling together what I can and trying to like keep this shit from crashing into the side of the mountain.
It's pretty amazing, guys.
It is. You all don't know. You don't know.
I basically walked into this place and him in a dark corner, just sort of like looking down at himself at his hands.
What did I do? I don't.
It's like, why have you forsaken me, Donicles? He said.
What if the tree I had to trim in my backyard was like the source of all my powers?
Maybe.
And then I just like cut off a big branch, and suddenly that's all my powers are gone.
Is this like Job, but for Donicles?
I was like, it was kind of like a big tree dick, like coming out of the side of the
Kinda
tree.
Was, yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I've angered Donicles.
Most likely.
How do I make Donicles happy? I ask you to tell me the rules to the made-up religion that I made up.
It's a lot of not safe for work things, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say any of them.
All right.
Just play Saints Row the Third a lot.
I'm going to have to make an OnlyFans account, aren't I?
Probably.
That's good. Oh, boy. I didn't want to do that. Nobody wants
that. It's just going to be called Beards Master.
And when I say make an OnlyFans account, I mean, like, for me to produce content, not to, like, look at other people's content.
Yes, that's not what he meant at all.
Yeah, that's
wink,
right.
Wink.
That's right. What if you made an OnlyFans account and it was just popular enough to give you enough money to, like, access other people's OnlyFans accounts?
I don't know how that works, but okay.
Like a self-sealing porno bubble, like a story wheel, but for porn. Just I make porn to make the money to pay the other people to see their porn that inspires me to make mine. Oh boy,
it's a self-sustaining system.
Yeah, that's right. Well.
You make the patty bucks. We give that the patty bucks.
That's right. That's right.
Goes from there.
I was gonna say I was trying to think of anything I did last week. I stopped watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I started watching Fire Force Season 2 because Fire Force Season 2 is the shit, man. Like it's really good. Actually, you know what? I have a podcast recommendation this week.
Go for it.
So normally I'm kind of a news junkie and I like to listen to a lot of different news podcasts, but we're in what, like month 7 of hell or
something
whatever,
like that, yeah.
And there's like it only gets worse from here. Like it only gets worse. Like the line only goes further down.
Yes. Instead of going up to 11, we're down to like -1.
Yeah. So I needed to find some podcasts that didn't have like current events in them. But Michael, this is next to goddamn impossible. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Video game podcasts talk about current events, and like joke podcasts talk about current events, and so what I landed on as the thing to raise my spirits is Bloody Disgusting. The website Bloody Disgusting has a podcast called the SCP Archives that are just like dramatic readings and then reenactments of SCPs from the SCP Foundation.
Oh, geez.
And there are literally 1 billion of them. They've been doing it forever.
Oh, wow.
And
there's a lot of this.
They're like an
SCPs.
hour long. Yeah.
Really?
And they tend to choose ones that have like a little like a radio, like a transcript of a radio broadcast at the bottom, and then they'll have like 3 or 4 people like act out the radio broadcast. But yeah, it's just like great. The only problem is that sometimes I get scared by them. Like, I like to walk my dog in the dead of night and there's like nobody around, and then my fucking iPhone headphones are like in my ear and they're talking to me about the thing that like destroys your brain. One of them was about like Where's Waldo, except that the like actual Waldo is an entity that like if you see it like goes inside of you and then like comes out of your mouth and rips your face apart. And so like the whole thing was about containment procedures because nobody can know where Waldo is, or else he will destroy them. So, like, this guy created this very sophisticated automated system of drones that has to be followed to the letter. And then, like, once he set it all up, he wandered out into the forest and waited to die from the SCP Waldo that came to kill him.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So, it's all free. It's all on all the podcast networks. And, like, hey, it's not like you have to hear about something stupid happening in Florida. You could just just do a thing. So, what have you been up to over the last week?
I finished Perry Mason. The season finale happened on Sunday.
Michael is determined to tell me about Perry Mason.
Well, Perry Mason's really good.
How was it?
I thought it was really good. It was definitely, like I said, it wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah,
like it was a Perry Mason origin story, kind of thing that just eventually it ends in this sort of like
he's like a court lawyer, right? In the old show?
Yeah, in the old show, he was just he was a defense attorney.
Okay.
Kind of thing. He was basically Phoenix Wright kind of thing.
Okay.
Like just taking on cases that most people weren't going to take, that sort of thing. Whereas the show, he starts off as a drunk detective or a private detective that was working for a lawyer.
Okay.
Who the lawyer eventually, in the middle of the season, is written off, let's say.
Okay.
And so he has to become the lawyer to defend the person that he was doing the detective stuff for.
You're the lawyer now, dog.
Basically,
the classic Sean Connery line.
Exactly. It was really fascinating, actually. I really liked it.
It was on HBO?
It was on HBO. Only like 8 episodes, something like that, 8-hour episodes. I liked it a lot. It just was not what I was expecting.
Okay.
And it was very dark and all the good and all the nice noir ways kind of thing.
All right.
There's a lot of betrayals, death, double crosses, that kind of thing.
Right on.
I liked it a lot. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of Gundam. I
the fuck you say?
Yeah, I used the music import, which I fucked up a couple times.
You're like a pro now. You got the music import. You got your Slayer and your
no, luckily I just added more Gundam music to it.
Oh,
except for like 2 or 3 songs that are not Gundam.
I like the fact that Michael's like, there's not enough Gundam music in this Gundam game.
There isn't.
Import my own Gundam music into this Gundam game.
It absolutely needed more of it.
I'm just gonna replay the title theme from 08th MS Team over and over again.
You could do that too.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's there's that. And I also watched a documentary called Desert One. That's supposed to come out.
One?
Yeah, it's about the failed attempt at rescuing the Iranian hostage or the U.S. embassy hostages in Iran in like the 80s, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So it's all about that.
Oh, okay.
And it's very depressing.
I know how that one ends. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, but they got like everybody for this thing. They got Jimmy Carter. They got the vice president at the time. They got the people who were part of it. They even got a couple of the people that were actually the ones who took them hostage.
Holy shit.
Kind of thing. And and some of the other people that were like, who had saw kind of the actual operation happened. And I was just like, this shit is fascinating.
What is that on?
It's supposed to be on History Channel later. I don't think it's out yet.
Oh.
I got it as a screener for one of us.
Okay.
There should be a review for it soon, but it's really, really good. And whenever it comes out, I recommend it 100%.
Fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what I recommend 100% when it comes out. That's Cyberpunk 2077. We got our...
The deuce, you say.
Yep, Night City Wire. Well, okay, so, I was thinking about saying this briefly. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of. I was very uptight, more uptight even than I am now when I was younger. Very worried about things all the time, very in my own head. And my friends would always just be like, "Man, you just got to relax." And it was like, "Do you think I don't know that? I don't know how to relax. What is step one to relax? You say relax. Frankie says relax. My body isn't having it." But so I can't do that. But what I can do is forget about video games. So like Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out in 5 years. I'm not going to spend brain time anticipating it. Like, it's 5 years. It might as well be forever.
That's true.
So I'm able to flip the switch in my head that's just like, well, that game's never coming out. And then suddenly it's like, oh shit, that game's going to be out in like 2 months. All right, I'll get excited now. And these Night City Wire live streams are not helping a lot. This one was interesting. It was very specific because it went over just a few different things. One of them was the 3 different origin stories that apparently in this game, you know, like in Mass Effect, you get to choose like, you know, what was your childhood like or whatever. Or Baldur's Gate asks you like, what did you do before you joined this bullshit? And it gives you like certain stat bonuses. Well, this appears like they were like, what if that was like a real difference between the different things?
Well, they have like this series of cutscenes based on each one, and they all feel like the intro of a completely different game.
Yeah,
which I found interesting as well.
So there's basically like a gang member, kind of street kid, that grew up on the streets.
You remember the Sharks?
Yep. It's funny because there's one point where it's just straight up the Fast and the Furious is happening in this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot of just like like knowing gang members and stuff like that. But then there's the nomads who are just like out in the desert, like Burning Man, driving around.
They're pretty close to like country people.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
Except that it's like an irradiated nuclear wasteland instead of like
they're still cybernetic hillbillies essentially.
Yeah. And then the third one is the corpo, is you're a fucking corporate puke.
It's basically a RoboCop kind of thing. Well, like the third one.
You know what it reminded me of a lot was Johnny Mnemonic.
Oh yeah, I definitely can see that.
Everybody with the suits and shit.
It's so completely different though from the other two.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some of the footage that they had for the Nomads. Because they let like a bunch of journalists play this game for like hours. Oh, wow. And like if you start as a nomad, the first thing you have to do is get into Night City. Like you literally start outside the city, and then like this huge outside area. I don't know how much you've been keeping up with this, but this huge outside area is going to just be a huge place, so you can just take your car and drive around and get into quests and bullshit out in. So, which one, Michael, will you be choosing? Or I don't know. Are you as psyched as I am, or are you just like, meh?
I'm fairly excited, but only because like I'm interested to see how this whole thing plays out. Mm-hmm. And seeing these 3 of them, I'm like, I don't know which one I would pick. Like I love the whole Johnny Mnemonic OCP fucking corporation vibe I'm getting. Yeah. From the corporation one, but I really like the country kind of nomad thing.
Yeah. Country road. You want the country roads to take you home?
Yeah, absolutely. And or the street one, I'm like, well, the street one just feels like it's like the default one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really does feel like the default setting of every cyberpunk game that's ever existed. It's funny because I watched all 3 of these and I was like, normally I think that I would pick the street gang one because it is the default kind of thing. But part of me is like, I need to go corporate puke in this. Like, you know, I want to like take this place over. But what's cool is that Michael didn't get a chance to watch this whole thing, but like they talked about how each one of these is going to open up different dialogue choices depending on which one you start with. Oh, okay. So there's like a mission where, like, they showed that mission a few E3s ago where the corporate woman wants you to get this weapon back from this gang. Oh, okay. And so, like, if you're a corpo, you'll know, like, why she wants that to happen and have, like, dialogue options that you can dig into different places. Oh, okay. If you're a nomad, you'll know how they were able to jack a shipment because you fucking come from a bunch of people that are out there fast and furious in those DVD players. So, and then if you're a street kid, you won't know any of that, but you will know the gang that, like, when you go to approach that gang, you can, like, use the fact that you come from the street to talk like drug shop talk with like the gang members and maybe change some of the outcomes. So they're looking at, like, I think this is really interesting, the idea of having a backstory in an RPG that doesn't just affect like your starting stats, right?
Yeah.
Or like one dialogue option, you know.
I think that's what's fascinating about it.
Yeah. So if they can keep that up through the entire game, like it seems really interesting. And it makes me wonder, you know, because we've seen that like the game seems to start with like V doing a job that then goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
I guess all three of them will get the job, but from slightly different perspectives.
Like somebody is probably going to give them the job and somebody's going to screw them over. But if it's the same person, I don't know. That's what I find interesting more than anything.
Yeah. I wonder how big this goddamn game is.
It's crazy how big this game keeps becoming. Because at first I'm like, oh, it's fairly big. But then after watching this, I'm like, how fucking big is this fucking game? That you can have almost like 3 different games going on in it.
Yeah. Yeah, or that you would go back and play it again. I don't. You know, it's funny because everybody loves The Witcher. It's just I'm not a big sword and board kind of guy.
It's difficult sometimes.
But like this is just, you know, like I could see playing this game through a few times.
Yeah.
If it's, you know, if it works. A few other things that they had in this particular presentation. They actually did a little bit of a deep dive on the different guns in Cyberpunk. There's apparently like 3 different types of weapons. There's power weapons, there's smart weapons, and then there's like energy weapons. And like power weapons are just fuck off strong to the point where like you could shoot a shotgun at a wall and it'll ricochet back with enough force to kill a guy.
Oh, Jesus.
And then like power weapons are like sniper rifles that you can like punch through cover to kill people with. And then smart weapons are like you can tag a guy and then shoot up in the air and the bullet will just curve around. Like all of their examples were like how to get at somebody who's behind cover. And it was pretty cool. It did make me wonder though, just kind of like, I don't know, like they even talked about how that like some named characters will have like special versions of guns that are more powerful, but like they won't give them to you. And so like they're your friends and they're not going to give you their best gun.
Yeah.
So you have to make some like decisions. But yeah, it's really interesting. They also though had a little kind of like sub-documentary with, I believe, the band Refused doing all of the Johnny Silverhand or Jimmy
Samurai or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Keanu's songs.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool too.
There's a lot going on in the series.
Yeah, there is.
And it hasn't even come out yet.
There is. I don't know, man. I'm super jazzed. Like the only thing that holds me back, right, is that you know, we know that CD Projekt Red kind of treats their employees like shit.
Yeah.
I'd rather they didn't do that. Like, I'd be willing to wait until 2021 if they didn't treat their people like shit.
Well, it's difficult in this current climate of games.
Yeah.
Everyone and their grandma basically is like, that place, they treat us like shit. I'm like, but I really like Mortal Kombat.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the two are mutually exclusive.
It's
I think you
difficult,
could say,
yeah.
like, Cyberpunk's a good game. I would, if you gave me the option, if you gave me the choice, I would say I'd rather you take longer to make this than make people crunch.
Exactly.
So that was the big Cyberpunk thing this week. But it wasn't the only Cyberpunk thing this week because we actually got a few more Cyberpunk stories coming through. One was that apparently they are completely reworking the Melee this close to the release of the game.
Jesus.
Yeah. This is a really interesting article because it talked about how like they put in the Melee and they described it. I think this is such a like subtly sick burn. They were like, it was like Skyrim Melee combat. And they were like, it was fine, but there just wasn't anything special about it. It was just kind of repetitive.
It just didn't feel right, is what they're saying.
So they went back and they reworked a little bit of it. They were already like, it's already a way better thing. But then in this article that I was reading, the interviewer was asking them like, well, can you build like a Melee build? And they were like, no. Or, well, you can. Like, you can. What was the thing they said? If you want to have a katana and there's a guy in front of you with a katana and you want to hit him with your katana and he's got 2 guys with sniper rifles, those guys are going to shoot at you.
Oh, okay.
And then, like, you're going to have a katana. So, like, you can use a katana.
You can try it, is what they're saying.
Right.
You can build it. But they will come with guns.
Yeah, is that this is a very gun-focused world. So, like, yes, there are melee weapons. Yes, you can use them. I don't know. It does actually, though, bring up an interesting question of, like, that would be an interesting expansion to make to the game, to like go back and just add in a whole set, like maybe a new skill set that's built specifically to like protect you from firearms so that you can hit people with
like some kind of shield you can throw at people.
Michael, the Avengers beta is not out yet.
Yeah. I'm really excited to try it out at least.
And you can't use Captain America in it anyway, so
yeah. Well, you can in that beginning part.
In the very beginning, yeah. But not just that. There was also another part of another interview where they talked about bullet sponge enemies in RPGs and how it's really unsatisfying when, like, you know, you shoot a guy 3 levels higher than you with a fucking rocket launcher and, like, he just shrugs it off and starts shooting you. So apparently that's not going to be a thing in this.
Thank God. That's the most annoying thing about games like The Division.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, I have a machine gun and I can't machine gun the guy hard enough? That doesn't make any sense.
I strapped a bunch of garbage cans to me, so I'm invincible with my flamethrower. Well, but see, the trade-off is that when they talked about it, they were like, no, they'll react when they get shot, no matter how they get shot. But that also means that apparently gun fights in the game are exceptionally lethal, and that, like, you're going to need to use cover because they're just as lethal to you as they are to other people as well.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they're not going to be bullet sponges, but neither are you. So,
I like the idea, though. Like, it would be easier to explain it with bullet sponge in that universe than a normal universe. Because, like, well, cybernetics, I guess. Like, you could just say that over and over again.
Well, there's that one guy that was like, that they saw in the what part of the Corpo trailer that they've shown before, where it's just like, everything is replaced except for his, like, face.
Yeah.
And it's just a giant hulking robot man now.
Yeah, it's much easier to explain, but I'm glad that they decided not to, though.
Do you think should they put Dolph Lundgren in this game? Making a cameo for
the full penetration.
Johnny Mnemonic. You remember he was like the street priest that was like indestructible.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah. That Ice-T and Keanu Reeves had to team up with that chick from Starship Troopers to destroy so they could bring the file to the Dolphin.
We should just put the entire cast of Johnny Mnemonic in this game, is what you're saying.
Do you remember the
entire thing?
You remember Udo Kier was in Johnny Mnemonic? He was like the guy that Dizzy from Starship Troopers wanted to work for, and he was like, hold out your hand, and then she couldn't keep her hand from shaking. And he's you're so jacked up, you can't even stand still. And there was that guy, he had like the thumbnail with the big monofilament laser in it that he just used to slice people up. I like that movie.
It's a crazy fucking movie, guys.
Ice-T's dropping flaming cars on people from under the bridge. Everybody's got internet sickness. That's the whole point.
It's pretty amazing, guys.
Then they fucking put it all out on that like sculpture of old TVs they've got with that dolphin. Jonesy. God, why do I remember so much about Johnny Mnemonic?
I'm surprised, yeah.
What's wrong with me?
You remember way more about that movie than I do.
I watched it in the theater twice.
Well, that's probably part of it explains it.
I need to watch Johnny Mnemonic again.
Maybe, yeah.
I need to get on the horn to Brian Salisbury and be like, Brian, I got another one. I just watched Johnny Mnemonic 14 times.
We're doing this.
I'm convinced it's the greatest movie of all time for a little while. I don't know why I'm Rick Sanchez in this phone call with Brian Salisbury.
It works, though.
But yeah, everything I'm hearing about this game sounds great, except for one thing. I don't really know what the fuck is going on with this, but Cyberpunk 2077 apparently is going to have a bunch of like cameos from YouTubers and stuff, just doing like voice lines. And there was one that was this woman who was a Chinese YouTuber who I had a really difficult time figuring out what the fuck happened, but apparently it was revealed that she was going to do one of the voices in the game, and then like people went at her to the point where she literally pulled out of the deal with CD Projekt Red and posted a thing basically saying like, I'm not going to do this anymore. There was something about The Last of Us 2 in there that like, and she's gay, and that has something to do with it. I looked around the internet, but it was kind of hard to figure out. I was like, well, what about The Last of Us 2? Apparently she's got a lot of like, her YouTube channel has a lot of drama, and there was some weird situation where she didn't handle like the fallout very well.
Oh, okay.
And then apparently there was some other like, I get the impression that maybe like the Chinese media state arm might have like put pressure on her because she streamed The Last of Us 2 and was like happy with the lesbian relationship in that game. And
I don't know. I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, all I know is that I've fucking like God, cut it out, China. I mean, this could just be like Chinese YouTube comment sections are just as bad as America, but worse.
Yeah. I don't know. That sucks for her.
I mean, the thing is that I don't even know her name because it's in like Chinese script.
Yeah, I'm not going to even attempt what that would maybe even say.
Where would you start? Okay,
well, so where I would start is not appropriate anyway.
Yeah. So, but that sucks. That sucks. I think CD Projekt Red should just like put it back in the game and all the other regions, and then just be like, nope, totally not in the game, China. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, you can't prove it.
Of course, the internet wouldn't be able to keep its mouth shut for more than 5 seconds.
It would have showed it up immediately.
Does the Chinese government have a Twitter account? I feel like 5 minutes after that game came out, somebody would tweet at the Chinese government.
They absolutely would. Minimum.
Oh, Twitter. God, you suck. All right. Speaking of sucks, let's talk about Halo.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite is delayed until 2021.
I am the sad.
Well, okay, so I wanted to get your take on this. I think when we were talking, I think you and I have always been on the same page of like, I'd rather you take your time and do it right than put it out and have it be bad.
Yeah.
But then you didn't actually seem like you were as like negative about the footage that was shown.
Well, that's the thing is I when it comes to this games, I was never the guy who was like, oh my God, it's the most realistic thing ever kind of thing. I was like, I grew up around the time of like, I grew up on a Super Nintendo and then like onwards. So whenever a game looks like to many people not quote unquote next gen, I'm just like, I think it looks fine.
Yeah,
I think it looks like it plays really well, and I think that like I would have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's why I get enjoyment from so many games that aren't like a lot of people were like, well, that game isn't very good. I'm like, well, I was fine with it because the gameplay was fine, and sure, it's a little rough around the edges, and that's what Halo Infinite looked like to me. I was like, yeah, it's a little rough around the edges, but I don't mind. It looks like Halo, like it's some Halo-ass Halo, and that's what I want.
What I wonder is just apparently like Phil Spencer and them, like they had like this big 24-hour like emergency meeting after they saw the reaction to that stuff online, and they decided just to push it back and run it back through the polish machine a little bit more. And I read that and I go like, guys, no offense here, but it's Halo fans.
Yeah.
Like, I've never known Halo fans to be happy with any game, ever.
I haven't been happy with any game since Halo Reach. And that's really what that's the truth. You will talk to any Halo person, and they're like, well, Halo 5 is garbage, but then somebody will be like, well, the multiplayer is good. And I'm like, well, fuck you. It's like, okay. Like, no one's liked Halo proper in a while.
I mean, like if I had a podcast, I think I remember when Halo 2 came out that everyone was mad at the dual wielding in Halo 2 or whatever.
They're mad the assault rifle wasn't a thing in Halo 2.
Big controversy about that. I'm like, there's always something that somebody's mad about. Like
that's the thing. That's why I was surprised, but I'm not upset that I'm only slightly upset that they've delayed it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that like it was literally the only thing on the Xbox Series X that was enticing
a big system
me,
draw, yeah.
Basically, like there were the two, and I'm such a giant Halo fan that literally just them going Halo's on the Xbox Series X this year. I'm like, well, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, Sony's still like Spider-Man's still happening, and I'm like, is it now?
It's like Sophie's choice for video games. Well, I mean, but you could play Halo with Game Pass on my old Xbox One, right?
Yeah. Well, they said it's supposed to still be on
all the way
Xbox
backwards
One.
compatible, right?
But it's still one of those things where it's like I'm gonna have the lower end of that experience.
Sure.
Like the lowest possible, not the lowest possible end, but probably kind of thing, because I have the day one Xbox One.
No, you have to have the diskless S in order to have the lowest possible experience.
That's true, yes. But yeah, it's just so I was looking forward to the idea. I was like, well, maybe I could upgrade to the next one instead.
Yeah,
because I like Halo so much. But they're just like, well, we're not going to do that now. So now my decision is kind of still made for me, because it's like, well, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Spider-Man, and it's coming out.
Yeah.
And yeah. I see. Okay. So here's the thing. Like, I don't want to be, I don't want this to come off. I know that, okay. Full disclosure, right? Like, I tend to lean more Sony. Like, I've warmed up a lot to the Xbox over the last couple of years with Game Pass and getting a Series X, right? Like, I definitely use my Xbox, the One X. I've definitely,
a lot of people are going to break in your house for a Series X right there.
Are they?
Maybe they stole your identity. Let's do whatever.
I think they'll try to take my Switch before they take my Xbox.
Well, you said you had a Series X. They were hoping you did.
But like, without that as a draw, is this like the head start? Is this the PS5's head start where like they're going to completely sell out and then the Xbox is going to lag behind without the games to push the system, and then the PS5 is going to keep going and keep selling out, and we're just going to be in the same situation where we are now, where there's more exclusive first party, or there's more exclusive stuff to the PS5 because they have a huge install base. So when somebody wants to make a new game and they have the choice of which studio to dev for first, they're like, I think we should do it on the PS5 because they have this huge install base.
Yeah.
And if we do it on the Xbox, like, well, they've got Game Pass, like they've got all these ways to give these games away.
It's really tricky because Xbox, at least based on this delay, seems to be going into the tortoise and the hare method.
Right.
Which is like, well, slow and steady is going to win this race.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, where PS5 is like, yeah, we already got like all of the rabbits kind of thing. Well, we'll be fine.
And the funny thing too is that, like, I mean, Resident Evil Village isn't an exclusive.
Yeah, it's not.
There's a lot of that stuff that they showed that was not exclusive. Hitman 3 is not exclusive. So I think it's just kind of going into the same, I guess it kind of goes into the same question where we are right now, where like if you're looking for the most bang for your buck, Series X and Game Pass will let you play all the new stuff, and you'll get all the Game Pass stuff, and it's going to be completely backwards compatible all the way back to the Xbox or OG Xbox. So like that, whereas the PS5 is like, well, do you want to play Spider-Man? There's only one place to play Spider-Man. Like, they're doing the old school thing.
Yeah, they're going the old school method, and the Xbox, like I said, it very much is we're hoping that the fan base that we have currently will just carry over without any issues.
Yeah,
and there is a lot of them that I've talked to who they are just the Xbox people kind of thing, and that's going to carry them for a bit. But as it goes on, it might not be enough. But,
I mean,
like, here's the argument I've always made about the Xbox is like the Xbox survived on Halo and the 360 survived on Gears of War.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I feel like
the Xbox One survived on Kinect games.
Yes, it survived on cable boxes.
DVR.
Exactly. The Xbox One, like, it survived only because it fought really hard to stay alive, kind of thing. Because it fucked up very early on.
Yep.
And Game Pass helped it a lot, as well as the games they promised eventually coming out. But even then, like,
there's just not as much first-party shit on there. Yeah,
yeah, and so they just relied on that thing. So if they're lucky, something will come along and keep this thing alive long enough for them to keep on going the same way as the first two things they did.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I was hoping. I keep saying on this podcast, like, I want them to fight. I want them to be like neck and neck. But then, the thing that keeps occurring to me that we never talk about on this podcast is that, like, okay, so let's say the Xbox and the PlayStation are neck and neck in America, right? Europe is Sony country. Japan is like Sony and Nintendo. Like
100%.
Xbox doesn't do shit in Japan or Europe. So like I don't know, like I keep waiting for them to break out into the greater world, but they just don't seem interested in getting the things, all these weird like Bandai Namco NIS like JRPGs that Sony apparently just has a license to put all of them out exclusively on their system. Got a maxi boost on Versus, right? That's on the PS4 only?
Well, it comes down to the fact that Japan just doesn't
don't want that Xbox, man.
They don't want to develop for them.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I remember when Blue Dragon came on the 360, it was a huge fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't really do
We're going to break
well.
into the Japanese market.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Kind of thing. And they're like, well, like that's what made it surprising when they showed Dragon Ball FighterZ on there, because like, look how good it looks on the Xbox One X, and Japan was like, we don't care.
Yeah. So I don't know. I want Microsoft to do it, and like maybe. To me, it feels like Microsoft is shifting their entire thing over to a service. Xbox is a service that you get access to. It is not that box. It is not the box with the Xbox logo on it. It is the service that you can play on your PC, on your Xbox, on your phone, all over the place. But Microsoft was also very quick to come out and say that the Xbox Series X is coming out in November still. Like, the delay of Halo does not mean the delay of the Xbox. There's also a story where they apparently considered very briefly splitting the multiplayer out of Halo and just releasing that by itself in November, and then bringing the story back when it was done. And they were like, no, that's not a good idea.
No, it's not a good idea. It's not.
So
it's an idea.
Yeah. In further Xbox news, this week, Game Pass Ultimate gets you xCloud. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you can now, not the beta, but like the full on, you can download xCloud off of the Google Play App Store and log in and fucking play Xbox games on your phone. So I would actually be really interested to see how this works. Except that my phone sucks as bad as my computer and everything else. You can see where I put the points in this room we're sitting in.
Yeah.
I put them into Xbox and PlayStation. I did not put them into PC or phone.
No, you did not.
I did not. Yeah, it's like every so often I'll beat a boss and get like 5 skill points, and I'll put it into like TV or like new hard drive, right? But like for the most part, phone is like the bottom of my list.
I'm not any better, to be honest.
Would you? I mean, are you going to give this a try? You've got Game Pass Ultimate, right?
Yeah, I do. But I don't know how well my phone will run it. I guess I have a Pixel, like the first gen Pixel, essentially. So we'll see how that plays out. It probably will play some of them, but probably not any of the super high end ones. But I don't know.
It might be interesting to try playing like some of the more like the RPG offerings and see just what it goes.
Plus, I don't have a controller for it.
Well,
I used to, yeah, but I don't have one now.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you have Pixel because Apple has refused to put xCloud on their platform.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, Apple.
We have 2 Apple is a shitty piece of garbage company stories today. This is number 1. So, Apple has said that they will not allow xCloud to be, or they're not allowed xCloud beta to be listed on the Apple App Store because xCloud gives you access to multiple games, all of which would need to be individually certified in order to be on the Apple Store, because Apple certifies everything to maintain high quality standards and to make sure that you're not going to get a fucked up product. And this doesn't have anything to do with Apple Arcade and any of that bullshit that nobody is not doing. What is that? What's called Apple Arcade?
I think so, yeah.
Where it's like the subscription thing where you get a bunch of games that should be on other platforms but aren't.
That no one remembers exists.
Yeah.
I literally forgot Apple Arcade was a thing until you said it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you don't have an iPhone.
I don't, yeah.
And there's some cool looking games on Apple Arcade. And I'm just like, that's great. They'll be on Steam someday. Like,
maybe.
But
it stops working.
Yeah. This is some horse shit. This is some total and complete horse shit. There's actually other things that do this that Apple lets on their store. Yeah. This is a flimsy justification to basically not let a competitor onto their store. And one of the reasons that I hate Apple with a fiery vengeance.
I hate them so much.
The Google Play Store may be full of trash, but like at least I can sift through the trash and find whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Like I remember when Google launched the App Store and it was like, oh my God, you can buy an NES emulator on this thing for $5.
You like so much weird shit on there.
Okay. And here's just porn. Here's porn.
Yeah, fuck it.
Like just do whatever you feel like.
Whatever you want, bud.
So yeah, Apple is blocking that. So if you want to play your xCloud, you're probably going to have to play it on Android, or I don't know. Can you install? I know on Android, like not only on Android do you have everything that you want in the store, but you can also just straight up install packages on an Android phone. And it's like, are you sure? And you're like, yeah. And it's like, all right, it's fucking your phone. I'm not your boss. Like,
people install Doom on it.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah. But that's not all, because Apple also removed Fortnite from the iPhone devices this week.
Thanks, guys.
This one's a little bit more interesting because here's the thing. Apple takes 30% of everything that gets all money that gets funneled through the App Store into the game store. So this week, Epic did like this big bald update on Fortnite on the phone, and they basically gave an option when you're inside of Fortnite where you can buy the V-Bucks, the microtransaction currency for Fortnite, and it's cheaper if you buy it directly from Epic, bypassing the entire Apple like wallet architecture.
Oh, wow.
At which point Apple said, nah, and pulled Fortnite off of their store. Now, this has been really interesting because Apple is just like, they broke the terms of service, which means that, like, the terms of service read that, like, you got to give us fucking 30%.
Yeah.
And Epic is like, do you see the size of Epic right now? Like, this is ridiculous, guys.
Yeah, this is stupid.
So Epic first released a statement saying that this was some bullshit. Then they recreated the classic 1984 Apple, the initial commercial for the Mac in Fortnite.
To a talking apple.
Yep, with a big apple talking, and then the lady runs up with the unicorn stick and throws it, and it's all black and white, and then it says, "Don't let 2020 be 1984." It is a shot-for-shot recreation of the original commercial.
It's pretty amazing, guys.
And not just that, but I'm pretty sure they also brought a lawsuit against Apple.
Oh my God.
Where they were like, yeah, you can't just do that. But the thing is that what they're saying is that Apple has a double standard where microtransactions from games get a 30% chunk taken out of them, but like apps, they're like Amazon doesn't have to give 30% of every Amazon purchase done on an iPhone back to Apple. And they're like, well, what's up here, guy? Like, why do they get to do, like, why do they get a direct a payment from the customer, and we have to fucking have a big chunk taken out of it? So
this is so fucking crazy.
This will be interesting to see. I just love the fact that, like, I know a lot of people hate Epic, but I'm just like, I love the fact that Epic has such fuck off money at this point that they could just be like weird. They get weird with it.
Like any other company would have been like, okay, we're just gonna stop doing that. Epic's just has fuck off money. They're like, they look at Apple, and then they put their dick on the table. They're like, come at us, Apple.
Yep. Also, like, I don't know who wins in this scenario because Apple is very powerful, but like, bruh, Fortnite. Fortnite.
Everyone's going to hate you right now.
Like, look, Michael, is it possible that in the year 2021, like 12-year-olds with an iPhone will not be able to launch Fortnite or TikTok? What will they do? What will they do with their phones?
Those poor iPhone bastards.
Like, what? It's just what am I going to do? Make a phone call? Like, instant message my grandma?
They're going to have to buy, like, Android tablets to play Fortnite.
Like, Chinese unlocked Android tablets?
It's the only way.
Oh, man. Maybe they could stream Fortnite through xCloud on their tablet.
It's the only way.
Oh, my God. Can you... Wait. Hold on. Wait a minute. Michael. Wait. Hold on. If they ban TikTok in America and I install NordVPN/Rogue on my phone and switch my location to England, can I still run TikTok on my phone from England?
Yes.
Okay.
Because at least that's how the VPNs are supposed to work.
I guess so. I don't know anything about technology. I don't
know either.
You should see what's going on my hard drive right now. It's fucking insane.
I have a really shitty laptop, so yeah.
So yeah, that's going on. Also, Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic, he hates Apple.
I'm not surprised.
He's just like, he's been bitching and complaining about Apple for a long time. So I'm sure he was just like, yes, do it.
Let us fight them.
Fight me.
We shall fight this fucking Goliath.
Let's see. Speaking of disastrous things, apparently there was a patch for Red Dead Online that went on to the consoles last week that was so bad that, that's when you say, how bad was it?
How bad was it?
It was so bad that they've literally uninstalled it and rolled it back.
What happened, actually?
Okay, so, like, there were no animals. There were no people. Horses were floating. Guns didn't work. A lot of people said there was a creepy bald man that just followed them all around the map.
What?
Like, they fucked this shit up.
Wait, hold on. What was that last one?
Yeah, creepy bald man. Follow him around on the map. I don't know.
I want to see this.
Describing an SCP. I don't really have any like screenshots for it.
God, I hate that no one has that either.
Yeah. Well, no. There's a lot of them online. I just don't have any in this article right here.
Okay.
But, yeah. Apparently, it was fucking terrible. So
that's amazing.
They decided to roll it back, and yeah.
Floating horses.
In
Good times.
Other really awful, terrible news, Sam Fisher Splinter Cell is coming to Rainbow Six.
Also, it didn't really sound like Michael Ironside.
That's the least of my concerns.
It's true, yes.
That is the least of my concerns.
When you say Sam Fisher's in a thing, at least get the man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. They just need Michael Ironside to like do that thing where he just recites every word in the English language so that we can have Sam Fisher forever.
I'm cool with that, yeah. We'd also have Darkseid forever that way, too.
That's true. God, this looks like garbage. And I have to honestly ask, Michael, does Ubisoft understand why people like Sam Fisher?
No, they don't.
Because
if they did, none of this stuff would happen.
Right. Like they keep putting him in these action games and it's like, it'd be like if you put Solid Snake in Metal Slug and it's like, what? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, this reminds me of what Capcom did with Mega Man for a long time, which is they didn't make Mega Man games for a long time, but there were Mega Man themed everything, that had nothing to do with Mega Man himself.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And also, he looks like such a Ubisoft jerk. He's got I don't know.
It doesn't really look like Sam at all.
No,
is my other issue.
Yeah, and like instead of the goggles, which I figure like in Rainbow Six Siege there would be a reason to have the night goggles.
Yeah.
It's literally like a laser sight on the front of his gun and the little triangle green dots.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. Is all I'm saying.
It looks stupid. It looks fucking stupid, and I hate it. And there's the salt. I found it. Yeah. This is stupid, and I hate it, and it's stupid. I'm really hoping, I think it's going to take like a year and a half, but I'm really hoping now that they fired that one guy that we're going to get back to like diverse, interesting development instead of just like every game's the exact same fucking thing and it's all stupid.
I'm hoping for it.
Anyway, full reveal today. I think that's right. Yeah, today, as of you hearing this podcast. So we were just looking at the teaser, but there's a full reveal, I guess, question mark. Let's see. Speaking of really terrible ideas, or I don't know, maybe it's a really good idea. Maybe it's getting excited. Maybe the segue is about getting excited, but keeping your excitement in check because with a title like Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, I don't know what the fuck to think. We got a small teaser for Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League.
Was it Kills the Justice League? Is that what the title they ended up going with?
I
remember hearing it was versus the Justice League or something like that.
Suicide Squad KillTheJusticeLeague.com.
I guess that makes sense. I don't know.
Is it possible that the Superman in this picture is Bizarro?
Well, that's the thing is that a lot of people have been looking it over.
Yeah.
Like me, Greg Miller, you, that kind of thing.
Me, you, and Greg Miller?
Yeah, absolutely.
The three of us have been looking at it for a while.
The only people on the internet who've been looking this thing over.
Everybody else has just been like,
everyone's just cool with it. No, it's just that, like, it was pointed out to me that it's like, well, there's something off about Superman.
Yeah.
Like is it Superman or or maybe he's been taken over or something?
Man from Earth 2 or whatever.
Earth 3, yeah, possibly. I don't know. Like there's something off about like his eyes. There's some veiny stuff going on.
Yeah, somewhere
like in the super high res images, and some people are maybe thinking maybe it's an Eclipso thing. I don't know. There was a storyline like that was the Justice League versus the Suicide Squad not that long ago.
Yeah,
that involved Eclipso. So some people are like, well, maybe that's what it is. Who knows? And we're most likely going to find out during the DC fandom.
Yep, August 22nd. So. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, this is what Rocksteady's been working on for
a long time.
6 years?
Long time.
Something like that. Long time. So I hope. I mean, like, the thing is that I'm not filled with this does not fill me with like good feelings, but
I'm not excited because there's some people brought it up a good way of putting it, which is like this is kind of cool, but it's like when somebody announces something like this, I would rather be the Justice League,
right,
and not the Suicide Squad kind of thing.
Well, also, I feel like Injustice gave us a full helping of evil Superman.
Yeah.
And Injustice 2 gave us a full helping of like morally compromised evil Superman that you got to take down.
I'm just done with evil Superman is really what it comes down to.
I mean, like, the thing is that at this point, evil Superman kind of outweighs good Superman by a bit in like the last few things that have come out.
Yeah.
Like Red Sun, Injustice 2, there was a part in Justice League where he woke up from being dead and he was all evil and shit.
Yeah, deceased, all those things.
Yeah, so like maybe just give me like some good. Let's just establish a baseline of just like Superman. He's a good guy, and then be like, oh no, he's evil. Like,
it's just I'm a little tired of evil Superman, but we'll see how it goes. I trust Rocksteady to make a good game at least.
I hope so. In other Warner Brothers news, apparently, like there had been some rumblings that Warner Brothers was going to be selling off the games division, and they recently put out a statement where they basically, it's just a lot of corporate speak, but they're like, we're looking forward in the years in the future of making movies and shows and interactive entertainment for young people and old people and all kinds of people. And it's like, so they directly mentioned games, which leads a lot of people to think that they're not going to be selling. It would be a little weird for them to sell off the games division right before they announced the Suicide Squad.
It would be
the
really
Rocksteady
weird.
game everybody's been slathering over
and
for
there's
years.
That Batman game that they clearly have been working on this whole time.
Yep, that they keep teasing with the Court of Owls stuff.
And a lot of their rights are very much connected with Mortal Kombat right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, you could lose a lot of cool stuff that way.
It's true. But apparently they have like $4 billion worth of debt, so...
I wouldn't be surprised. That sounds like something Warner Brothers did.
Speaking of way too much money, did you see this week? Where EA had a vote with their stockholders. Their stockholders voted about 65% to like 35% to not give any pay increases to or bonuses to the EA senior staff. Basically, it's kind of interesting because apparently, like the last bonus that they authorized hadn't even become vested yet, like a secondary stock investment.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, there was a few people that they interviewed that were just like, this is like a bonus. It's not just like every time we have a meeting, we're going to give you another $3 million. Like we're going to give you another $3 million bonus, like every single time. Also, it probably doesn't help that, like, what was it last year where they were like, EA, the most overpaid CEOs in the country.
They really are.
And then also, last time I checked, wasn't it the last time they did that corporate satisfaction survey where like EA was like dead last of all companies in the United States?
Yeah,
like
people Bank of America.
Yes. So this is pretty good. I think this is pretty good. Apparently, though, like the big thing here is that they get, like they say, like Blake Jorgensen gets $850,000 as like his salary.
Yeah.
But then like there's these bonuses, these equity grants that come in. And so he'd get like $850,000 a year for that, and then $5.5 million in equity grants.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like, dude, you don't need that much money, Blake Jorgensen.
No.
Come on. Some of us could use $5.5 million. I could use $0.5 million. I could use $0.05 million. I could use $50. Blake, send me $50. Venmo.
Yeah, I could use the $100.
Venmo me $50. I want to buy a steak for this weekend. Well, in further too much money news, we got first we got the good news that Control is going to be hitting Steam August 27th and is also going to be coming to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. We have confirmation. When it hits Steam, there's also going to be an Ultimate Edition that gets sold that is the game and all the DLC. That's the good news. The bad news is that they talked about how only the Ultimate Edition is going to get a free upgrade to the Series X and the PS5. So if you have the default edition, you will have to pay to upgrade. But if you buy the Ultimate Edition, then you will automatically upgrade.
No one's seeing me rubbing my hands because I haven't bought Control yet.
Oh.
This is good news for me.
Ooh, looky there.
Good.
I bought Control twice.
You did.
So I've already spent $120 on Control.
I'm very excited.
Actually, I need to check and see if I might have bought the Ultimate Edition when I bought it digitally because I knew I wanted the DLC for it.
I think I don't actually know what that version's called.
Oh, wait. I think it was available. I think that the Ultimate Edition was also available when you originally bought it. The one that had all the bonuses built in. The most expensive one.
Not even sure on that how that one works, but sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. I think Control is great.
It's fantastic.
I think as we get closer, it ends up being one of those things where everybody wants the upgrade for free. So, and if the ray tracing does what it does on the PC, it will make Control into a very good-looking game.
God, yeah, I wouldn't mind replaying that entire game with all that stuff on.
Yeah, I'm going to have to replay that entire game just to play the DLC at some point because my save game got erased. Oh, no. Just watching this trailer actually makes me want to stop this podcast and then just go immediately play Control.
It was our game of the year that year.
So good. So good. Well, if you like Control, it's not all bad news, because apparently Sam Lake verified that all of the Remedy games are connected with the actual codification now that Alan Wake, the second DLC, AWE, is like confirmation that Alan Wake happened in the same universe as Control.
Ooh.
And then Sam Lake has said, not just that, they're all in the same universe. And not just that, but we're going to be moving into like an Avengers style, like Remedy verse.
Wait, hold on. By they're all in the same universe, how far back are we talking?
I'm pretty sure that he's talking about all of them. So I think he's talking about Quantum Break and Max Payne are in the same universe as Control and Alan Wake.
It would explain a lot about Max, to be honest.
Well, I mean, the last time we saw Max, he was in
the Rocksteady game, or not Rocksteady, Rockstar game.
Yeah, oh yeah, I wondered. They probably still don't have the rights for him. I
don't know how that works.
I bet he's out. I bet it's just Quantum Break, Control, and
I want Max to be a part of this.
Yeah,
I want it really bad.
You know, what'd be really interesting is if you just came across like one of those one of the Control files, and it was just talking about like. It was like the case of like the unkillable man that was just like this New York City detective that
chugging painkillers.
Yeah,
and everyone says he moves in like a different kind of way.
Right, and they're like, we've analyzed how much damage his body has taken. There's no way he should be alive at this point.
There's no way he should be alive from the sheer amount of painkillers he's
just
taken.
Like, what if instead of being boring, Bruce Willis like jumped sideways and shot 2 guns in Unbreakable? Like, then he would be Max Payne.
Pretty much.
What if Mark Wahlberg took a drug that made him hallucinate that there were like Valkyries, and then he jumped sideways and shot 2 guns, and they completely missed the point of Max Payne?
The worst part of that movie was when they finally did slow motion.
Yeah,
it lasted forever.
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah, but apparently their next game is going to be to tie this together. It's going to
cool
be
with that.
An original thing that like is then establishing the Remedy verse or whatever it is.
I'm really excited about that idea.
Sounds good.
That makes me happy.
Okay, it's time for Overdrive. Here we go. We got a very brief. You know what? This is hardly even worth talking about. There's still a new BioShock being made. Do you know this?
Yeah. Well, there were rumors about it.
Yeah. Well, no. There's like the company that's making it put out like a hiring thing.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of seemed to confirm that the next game will not be taking place in either Rapture or Columbia, and that's the entirety of this story.
I remember making the gag that they should put it on land, just to fuck with people.
What if it was on land that didn't move anywhere?
Exactly. What if you were just in the lighthouse and you just walked on land, and then that was the end of it?
Yeah. Last of Us 2 got a big update last week where they added in the grounded difficulty mode from the first game, which is a way harder difficulty mode that like reduces the amount of ammo and stuff that's in the game. But it also added a whole bunch of more stuff. They added a permadeath option where if you die, you have to start over again. But they also added options to basically let you go back to the beginning of either chapters or acts or the entire game. So you could set up how you want. There's new graphics modes that make the game look all crazy and different. You can turn on like infinity resources to just craft whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, neat.
Infinite ammo, slow motion, all kinds of crazy stuff. That's cool. I'm never going to play that game again.
If you die in the game, you die in real life with this new update.
No. I mean, I like the way the game plays. I like the action in the game, but the story is too fucking dour and grueling. Like, I never want to do that again. So, I mean, one thing if I had fun, but it's like, it's a game that wags its finger at you the entire time for playing it. And I'm just like, no, you can go on the shelf with Far Cry 5, and you can both sit and spin on
both just shelf. Talk to each other.
That's right.
I'm not dealing with you anymore.
You can both judge me. I had something for this, but the Fall Guys got a basically, if you're playing Fall Guys, you got a bunch of free stuff,
which is cool.
There was a bunch of server outages. There's also a bunch of cheating stuff happening, and as a way of saying thank you, the Fall Guys, they gave out this cactus costume and 5,000 of the little bucks. So
the Twitter account for Fall Guys has been fucking on top of it.
Oh, really?
Like, legitimately. Like, they're consistently just like posting like crazy. Like, just talking to the community. And like somebody was like making fun of them. They're just like, I'm a senior management guy, and they made like this like emoticon person like being all wagging their finger or something. Like it was just really like a lot of fun, and they constantly are like retweeting people's costume ideas.
Oh, okay.
Like KFC made a costume idea, so they retweeted that, and they're like, "What the?"
Well, not just them, but apparently, like Konami wants to use the Fall Guys to get some cash because they put a bunch of. You guys won't make a Metal Gear game or anything, but they put a bunch of like Metal Gear Fall Guys, like little Solid Snake Fall Guy renders up, and then like added Fall Guys, and I'm just like, God damn it, Konami. Will you guys just fucking make a video game or stop? Either way, I'm fine.
I bought this Bomberman game for the Switch, and I didn't realize that it had a Solid Snake and a Naked Snake Bomberman in it.
What is that? What are those words? That means nothing.
It's literally like it's Bomberman, but it's Snake. It's Solid Snake and Naked Snake as two of the playable Bombermans. But they're still Bombermans.
Nope.
But they talk like they have David Hayter's voice.
I reject this.
Shit, I know, right? I was like, what the fuck?
I reject this. I reject this and move on to Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods. We got a teaser trailer for it. I ended up liking Doom Eternal once I turned on the graphics mod to make it look like original or like Doom 2016.
Oh, is that a thing?
There's a gritty one that like desaturates everything, and I was like, oh, I like this better now. Also, I turned the UI from being like hot purple to just like dull green, and I'm like, okay, good.
I didn't realize that was a thing you could do.
Yeah. So they added. We're getting a new DLC. This actually comes out at the end of the month. The Ancient Gods Part 1.
Okay.
We also got a trailer for the GTA Online Los Santos Summer Special. There's not really much to say here outside of just like I like Rockstar trailers.
Yeah.
And it was a fun trailer. Like at one point a fucking cargo plane was bombing an aircraft carrier, and I'm like, I don't know what you guys are getting up to, but I know that I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm like level 4. So
yeah, the sheer amount of stuff it shows, you're like, it's never going to happen for me.
Yeah. Hitman 3 put out a 4-minute thing about the Hitman VR stuff.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
So here's the thing: is that this confirmed that like it is going to be like you have to use your hands to do the things that Hitman does.
Oh,
I don't know how down I am to do that, Michael. Like. Hitman's suddenly not going to be able to shoot anybody because I'm going to have to actually aim with my hand, and I'm going to have to actually try to hit somebody with a crowbar with my hand.
I appreciate the idea.
Like,
I have to admit that.
Yeah. Here's where I come down on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I already have a PSVR. It's going to be an update that's in Hitman 3. I will give it a shot. Like, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
I just don't know. This isn't like a selling point for me.
Well, it's a good thing to dick around with, kind of thing.
Yeah,
like when you're if I had a VR and I was playing it, like I wouldn't take any of it seriously,
right?
Kind of thing. I would just be doing all the stupid possible things in VR.
I just at this point I literally have like muscle memory on how to like speed run every single level in Hitman. So I feel like it's going to give me a weird anxiety because I can't just like shoot the cameras like bing 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 bing, right? Or like some guy's turning around and I actually whiff trying to punch him with my hand, and I'm like, well, fuck.
That's the exciting thing is like watching streamers do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They're like watching me do this pro gamer move, and they just like completely miss the guy entirely.
Yeah. I need to get my PSVR back from Matt because that Pistol Whip game finally came out on PSVR.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. We also got a trailer for Inscription, spelled all wrong. This is the latest game coming from what's this guy's name? Daniel Mullins, the guy that made Pony Island and The Hex. I really love both those games. Pony Island was great. Did you ever know about The Hex? Did I ever tell you about The Hex?
I don't think I did.
The Hex was so strange because it was about a bunch of video game characters that met up at a bar, and then they were like telling, like they were all in games that were made by this guy. And then they had been like cast aside, and then so there was like a platformer, a tactics game, like a fighting game, and like when you went to the fighting game, you would see what the guy from the fighting game did when he was in the fighting game. But then they were all meeting up to try to figure out a way to leave and go into the real world to destroy their creator.
Oh, wow.
It was a really strange game.
That's kind of cool.
So this one also looks really strange. Like, it seems to be a card game, kind of like, I don't know if you noticed this, but like, did you see this? like one of the cards literally says in the trailer, like, play along for now.
Yeah.
It's like the character is in this room with this like dark presence. And it's not just a card game, like it also apparently has escape room elements to it. And at the very end, there's like a montage where they show like an 8-bit game and like a first-person game and like what looks like an RPG or something.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot going on. And this guy tends to use the fact that his graphics are a little bit rough around the edges in order to like make a lot of different things happen. He's very creative. And so
what's the kind of thing that I was saying about with Halo? It's like you don't have to have something look super realistic to make a really fun, interesting game.
Yeah, I really can't wait for this because I played all the way through the Hex and I played all the way through Pony Island, and it was great. In fact, I played all the way through Pony Island on Rage Select with Sarah, so you can watch all 3 parts, I believe, of Pony Island.
Oh, okay.
Also, inexplicably, speaking of what the fuck, G.I. Joe Operation Blackout. Michael, why can't they make a good G.I. Joe game?
I was amazed they even made a G.I. Joe game. You showed this to me, and I was like, what the fuck happened?
This is so strange. It's like a third-person shooter where you play as both G.I. Joe and Cobra, and there's PvE, and there's PvP, and there's co-op, and you pick different G.I. Joes and use them in a really generic-looking third-person shooter.
Well, there's that, and like all the cutscenes are clearly just like the
panels of a comic,
the panel cheap comic thing that they do for like downloadable games mostly.
Yeah,
but it looks like they're trying to treat it not like that. I don't know. That's what makes it so fucking weird.
Well, like at the end, they literally show like boxes for the physical copies.
Yeah, exactly.
They're putting out.
It's strange. Like I don't understand where this thing came from. Is really what it comes. Like even some of the other games that I've heard, like somebody said they were making them. I had no inkling this thing even existed.
How much money would you pay for this game?
$20 at most.
Okay.
At most.
Okay. I think I'd be willing to go up to 40, but that's only because I have to put it on the channel.
That's fair, yeah.
I mean, who are you kidding? If it's 60, I'm going to pay 60 for it. So I'm not going to play the fucking G.I. Joe game. I just don't understand why they can't make a good G.I. Why is G.I. Joe so abused? Like
I don't know.
Like
that's the thing.
They've really figured it out with just about every other franchise out there, but G.I. Joe, it's just soldiers.
It's that meme. It's that great Gordon Ramsay meme where it's like me with this thing. It's like, oh, you're precious. You're so precious.
Oh.
And it's like me with the other thing. You're fucking donkey.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. They're like with them with Transformers. They're like, oh, you're so precious. And then G.I. Joe, they're like, fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like after that second G.I. Joe movie, they just were like, I guess we suck.
Yeah, they just never did anything ever again, really.
And then the next thing you heard was that they were like, the next movie was going to be G.I. Joe and like the Centurions. Or like or Visionaries or something crossover.
Like that,
it was something that didn't make any fucking sense to cross over.
Like the comics apparently have done pretty decently with G.I. Joe, last I heard, but that was a while back. And then there was a cartoon they had after the second movie that was sort of weird, them being disavowed. Like it was more like the A-Team than it was like normal G.I. Joe. It was just strange.
Last thing I watched was that Warren Ellis one.
I think it was rad though.
It was good.
I think it was really good. I remember they showed that over the course of like weeks on Adult Swim for a bit before you could watch it like all together at one point.
Cool. All right, let's finish up news. Minecraft Dungeons is getting the second DLC September 8th, so Michael will have to see my furious fists of furious fists of
so
legend.
Fucking OP.
For a second time at that point, because I did buy the season pass. Mortal Shell, which is actually coming out this coming week, and we'll probably be playing it on the dojo.
Oh yeah, that is the thing.
August 18th is actually getting a physical copy or physical release on October 2nd.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah, you got to wait a little bit, but if you want, they're actually putting out a physical release for Mortal Shell. I'm strangely interested to see if Mortal Shell ends up being good. Like I played it a little bit more after we played it, and then I was like, I can't keep doing this.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah,
I'm curious as to what the internet will really say if they'll take to it.
Yeah. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has been pushed to 2021. So
jeez, everything's getting pushed to 2021.
Yeah. Like again, I looked at the releases for the back half of the year, and I'm just like, oh fuck, it's like the summer that never ends around here.
Yeah.
Like
that Samurai Jack game is going to be game of the year before we're done.
God damn. I'm hoping that the that they have a good launch lineup for those new consoles.
I do.
Let's see. Here's something. There's a Neo Geo home arcade cabinet coming to North America. This is actually really interesting because apparently this is a full-sized Neo Geo cabinet with a TV and everything in it. It's coming with a bunch of games, a bunch of Metal Slug, World Heroes, all that stuff. This is $450.
Oh, wow.
And this is like the countertop version. But if you throw an extra $50 at it, you can get the base too to make it a full stand-up version. So I don't know, man. Like for $500 for a cabinet, like that's not the worst.
Oh, not really. Plus, a lot of those I hear are like really easily moddable.
Yeah, it's better than that. What that fucking those Game Gears that are so small that you can't like get them into your hands.
I still don't know why they even did that.
Oh well, then have I got something that will make you even more question?
Go on.
Smallness. There is a company that is making teeny tiny consoles. Teeny tiny consoles. Sega, Master System, Genesis, Game Gear, Saturn, and Dreamcast. And these are literally for, what do they call these things? They're for these figures. These, what do they call it? Figmas, I think?
Oh, Figma Pluses.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're literally for your Figma figures to play with like a Dreamcast.
That's kind of cool, actually.
But they're so detailed that they literally, like you can see in this screenshot, that they literally open up and there's like little discs that will go inside.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. You can like order a bunch of them.
The internet's going to use the shit out of these, by the way.
I think so.
There's going to be so many just like little Imager albums of these things.
I saw this on Kotaku, and I saw that the opening line was like, "What are these Sega consoles for ants?" And I was like, "Yes." And last but not least, Michael, I'm not a big fan of them turning every video game into a board game, but sometimes they do it right. So Sniper Elite is being turned into a board game.
Really?
Somehow. And apparently one of the Kickstarter goals was, at a certain point, they have a Hitler shot in the nuts miniature, which is a little Hitler figure grabbing his nuts as he has been shot in them with his mouth wide open.
It's got the best name, though.
Yes.
The Test-to-Kill Mini.
That is true, yes.
Oh,
well, I think that was like the name of like the achievement or
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
So, yep. That's what you get. That's what you get. And we're going to go out on Hitler's nutsack, everybody. So stick around and we'll be back in just a minute to answer some questions, not about Hitler's nutsack. Michael, this is the final sprint. You gotta reach down deep into my reserves of Jeffness.
Yes.
This is the week from hell, and I still got a day left. So let's answer some questions and see what we can do.
Let's do this.
Mail@radioslight.com is the email address sending your questions to. The first one this week comes in from Max. Max says, "Hello, Jeff and Michael. Between recently completing The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about the benefits and downsides of giving video game players control over narrative choices. These games both tell a very deliberate story, one that sometimes rubs people the wrong way or asks players to make difficult choices they wouldn't make themselves if they were given an option not to. Do you prefer having a choice in the direction of the narrative when playing a character in a video game, or do you prefer to go along with the narrative that the video game designers wish to tell, even if it isn't the choice you would have made yourself? I.e., do you prefer to customize your burger, or do you just try and enjoy what the chef has to offer? I used to always think that I wanted to make my own choices, but now I think I am gaining a new respect for willing to embrace the story the video game designer wants to tell. I find it really puts me in the shoes of a character I didn't think like myself, and that challenges me in ways that I now find interesting. Thanks a bunch." And that is from Max. So, Michael, do you customize your hamburger? I already know the answer to this. Or do you just take what the chef gives you?
Well, I'm actually, when it comes to games, I'm more into the idea of I'd rather just like let the story play out. Okay. Kind of thing. Because usually when a game gives me a choice, I find myself going, but what if I made the other choice? And because if I make this choice and it turns out it's the choice I don't like, I can't just like rewind the DVD. Right. I have to go back through like 15 hours worth of game to get back to this decision. Kind of thing. So I'm more towards the. I'd rather just the story play out the way it was written, kind of thing.
Okay.
Like I do understand the greatness of the choice because I loved Mass Effect, and I'm a big fan of the choice meter. But at the same time, like I'm really bad at the choice thing, and I find myself just wondering, like, well, which choice sounds really cool, but like, does it play out the way it says it's going to?
Right,
kind of thing. Like I think I did the Telltale Batman game, for instance. There's a way of doing the Joker thing in 2 different ways, and I did it in both ways because I really wanted to see them in both ways. But now that they announced they're going to make another one and it's going to connect, I'm like, well, which one am I going to go with from here on, kind of thing. So it's like, fuck.
Yeah,
it's a series of challenges that way.
See, I'm kind of like I have some. My answer to this is going to be like extremely qualified because in some cases I really like the narrative as presented by the person who made the game, right?
Yeah.
Except that like I have this theory that I've had for a long time where everybody has their suspension of disbelief, and that there's a point where if a property bends your suspension of disbelief too far, then it just breaks, and from that point, everything else like there's no going back, right?
Okay.
So my example for this is Prometheus. Is that in the beginning of Prometheus, it's like, well, that was a dumb choice. Wait, why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? But that was a dumb choice too. And like eventually it's just like, well, fuck, it snapped. And now I'm just like, this movie's stupid.
Yeah.
So anything they do from there, I'm just like, it doesn't matter because the movie is broken now. And I feel like a lot of people, this has been my thing for a long time, that's what happened to them in The Last Jedi, was there was just too many things that happened in a row that they didn't want it to go that way.
Okay.
And so eventually, like in the first third of the movie, your suspension of disbelief got broken, and then you're going all the way back to the beginning. You're just like, wait, how do they drop bombs in space? That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. It's space. There's no gravity. And it's like, well, maybe they've got gravity. Shoot the bombs out the bottom. It's like, no, it's all stupid now. I hate it. And like, it's happened to me a bunch of times. And I feel like a lot of times when I talk about like a game or a movie or a show, there's a point, I don't know if it's like this for everybody. It may just be like this for me, but like a lot of times there's a point where I just throw my hands up and I'm like, nope, this is too much. I'm not going along with you anymore, Dragon Ball Z. I'm not going along with you anymore. This was one toke over the line, sweet Jesus, and I don't know why the guy has a car in the netherworld, and that was the point, and I'm just like done now. I don't understand.
There's a whole reason.
But
clean that thing.
I mean that's just an example, right? There's like there's a ton of movies that do that, and I feel like for me, my suspension of disbelief is it fluctuates. I think a lot of people have a hard time figuring out like Jeff, because the thing is that I don't have a baseline.
No, you don't.
So it's like if Batman versus Superman was cartoony AF, right?
Yeah.
Then like I might have had a fine time with it. But the fact that Batman versus Superman was so fucking serious is that when it started to do stupid shit, I was like, well, you can't be super serious and then do stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like Batman just quoted Dick Cheney about Superman. I can't. The rest of this is lost. It's gone. It's garbage. Like I can't get on board with this anymore. Whereas some people, they didn't have a problem with that and they went through. Like last week, I described that game Godfall. I said to me that, well, because they had the gameplay, the Xbox things for Godfall, and I said Godfall to me looks like Destiny 2 and Kingdoms of Amalur had a baby, and like that just seems like the worst thing in the universe to me. And somebody in the comments was like, "Well, I like Destiny 2 and Kingdoms of Amalur." I'm like, "Great,
good for you.
That's great." I want to like everything, and I can't even tell when I'm not going to like a thing. I just start watching it, and I'm just like, no. So like The Last of Us 2. I would have rather had a choice in The Last of Us 2 because I feel like The Last of Us 2 made a bunch of moral choices and then started heaping judgment on me for choices that I didn't have any control over. And I was like, well, no, I reject your argument because you didn't give me anything except murder everybody. And then you were like, you bad, those were people. And I'm like, well, no, I knew that, but you didn't give me any fucking choice. Like you didn't give me a stealth tree to like
I can't Metal Gear Solid no kill run this kind of thing.
Right. You didn't give me a tranquilizer pistol and the ability to knock people out. Ellie stabs everybody she grabs in the neck. Like, there's no way to not stab in the neck. And so then when you're like, violence only begets more violence. And I'm like, you did this. I didn't do this.
You made me violent, you stupid fucker.
Right. So that, at a certain point, whereas Ghost of Tsushima, on the other hand, was weird because your choices didn't matter in Ghost of Tsushima. Like, they set up Ghost of Tsushima where your uncle is like, you have to be an honorable samurai. It doesn't matter how fucking honorable you are. Like, eventually he's just like, because they force you to do some of the stuff sneaky ways. And then it's like, you've engaged in sneakiness. You have no honor anymore. And it's like, well, the game made me do that. But I didn't care. Like, it was like, it's fine. Because, I didn't feel like fucking Uncle Samurai was judging Jeff, the player. I think he was judging Jin, the character. And I'm like, well, okay, fine. Like, this is fine for a story. It's like, I will never stop being angry at Far Cry 5 for being like, well, the good ending was for you to not even play this video game. And it's just like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a shitty ending.
But see,
all the shit endings are shitty in 5.
It's also interesting because I feel like we've been living through a time when choice in video games has become a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it used to just be like Renegade or Paragon,
Yeah, that used to be all it was.
Yeah. Are you going to blow up Megaton or not blow up Megaton? And it was like, well, maybe don't blow up Megaton.
It was a lot of extremes.
Yeah. Are you going to eat babies or are you going to like...
Are you going to kiss the baby or take a bite out of it?
Right.
That's really what the two options were.
Right.
And the middle one was just, I should go.
Right. Right. So, like, I've recently got back into playing Disco Elysium finally. And Disco Elysium is interesting because it's basically a game that doesn't have any combat. The combat is all huge, sprawling, intricate dialogue trees full of choices that you make. And then, like, you level up the different parts of your brain to be able to do things better. So, like, you'll level up your, like, authority stat in order to be able to overpower somebody with, like, your cop authority. Or you'll upgrade your empathy stat in order to be able to understand why that shitty little shit Kuno is throwing rocks at a corpse that's hanging from a tree. Which, so there are games that I feel like do choice better. I feel like a lot of it is, like, I wonder... like, I don't know that Red Dead 2 would have been better if I had a choice, because Red Dead 2 was like going to a place, right?
Yeah.
So, like, getting off that train would have kind of fucked up that story no matter what. But on the other hand, Grand Theft Auto 4 gave you exactly one choice and then used that choice to stab you right in your feelings.
That's really good,
at the end of the game. And so it's like, I think Grand Theft Auto 5 would have been better if there was a choice, like if one of those characters had to say die at the end, right?
That is a choice, though. I told you that last time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that is a choice 5, yeah.
But there is a way that you don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So, like, if you had to do that...
You can avoid the choice is what it comes down to.
If you had to do the choice no matter what, I feel like that would have been stronger and more memorable than just like, well, everybody lived and I shot a bunch of guys and that was fine.
I had fun with it.
So I really feel like it's the story, right? It's what story are you telling, and then what choices would work. Like, I actually think I was saying for a long time that, like, when I played The Last of Us 2, I think The Last of Us 2 actually would have been a better game if it was more like if they funneled you towards the choice of violence, if they gave you the choice, and then when you, the player, chose violence, then when the game flips the script, it's like you did that. But the problem that I keep having with Last of Us 2 is that you have to be really invested in the characters from Last of Us 1, and I think Joel's a piece of shit. So, like, there's a thing where you're supposed to be, like, violently wound up about, like, I can't believe it. I'm going to, I feel so morally justified in doing all of these things. And it's like, oh, you were a monster. But I was like, no, I was fine with that. Like, I would have been fine with
that.
Like, after the first hour of Last of Us 2, if everybody just went home and lived their lives, I would have been like, yeah, it's about right for me. Like, it's fine.
Everything turned out fine.
So,
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
It all depends on the story. Like I don't think there's just a clear-cut answer for this in my opinion.
It really just depends on the game. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Like if your game has a bad story, then it doesn't matter how much choice you give me if your story's bad.
Like Mass Effect is purely memorable because you have the choices. So if it just played out right, it probably wouldn't have been as beloved as it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Or KOTOR.
Oh, yeah. I think that's true too with those.
Because when you go evil in KOTOR, God, you go super goddamn evil.
You really do. But your powers are so cool.
Yeah.
That's really the issue with that game.
There's also just a question I've always loved when it comes to like player choice. In Titanfall 2, just at a lot of various points, you just get to choose between two different things you say to BT.
Oh, okay.
And it's like it doesn't open up a different path. It's just you get to make a decision about, am I snarky or am I nice? Like,
okay.
And I think that's like, it makes literally no difference, but I'm super happy that it's there. So
okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I think it all depends. It all depends. Let's see. Brandon writes in and says, Dear Jeff and Michael, have you ever had a moment when you're talking to someone and your brain trips over 2 or 3 sentences at the same time, resulting in a bastardized hybrid of multiple trains of thought that come out to the horror of all those around you? I did. Story time. Last week it was my birthday and I was at work. The cashier, who it's important to note is a woman, congratulated me on surviving another year, and just before leaving, she came back to my department to give me one last birthday hug. She proceeded to give me a very tight squeeze before saying, "Can you feel how strong I am? Feel how hard my muscles are." There was some muscle flexing to go along with this. Now, what I meant to say was one of two things. Yeah, those are some hard muscles, or I need to get my muscles harder, since I've been very much out of shape due to the pandemic. Neither of those individual sentences came out. Instead, they fucked each other, and their spawn came out to unintentionally sexually harass my coworker, as what I ended up saying was, yeah, squeezing gets me hard. The awkward silence and the myriad of horrified faces around me is something I'll never live down, and I've never felt so mortified by something that has come out of my mouth. So I guess my question is, have you ever had any horrifying moments like this that stick out in your mind? Stay classy and don't sexually harass a coworker. Also, if you know of any job openings I might be in the market when you read this, thanks, Brandon.
Jesus. Well, like I never had like per se, like when I was younger, I didn't have a filter. Is a good way of putting it.
Okay.
I had a lot of times where I would tell people just what my thought process was, like from the get-go. Like when I was in high school, I'd have them be a lot. I was like Liz Lemon, like in those flashbacks where it's like everyone was mean to me, but if I think back to some of them, I was just saying what I thought,
right? And
then they just reacted to it. Like one of my favorites that I remembered was that this girl was just like, "Yeah, I don't know if I'm pretty enough. Like I don't think you're very pretty at all." Like. Is what I just like
good God, Lemon.
Said out loud, and she's just got pissed. And then there was another time we were talking about reading, and the girl was just like, "I don't really like reading," and I was just, "Well, you have to think, like, use your imagination about, to see the world or whatever." And she's like, "I just don't really like doing that." I was like, "Well, you just don't have an imagination," is what I said out loud. And she almost just like started bawling her eyes out. I told Brian Salisbury that second one time, and he's like, "Oh, you're right. She didn't have an imagination." And then there was another time when I was like 18. My brother was hitting on this bartender, and I was dumb. I was young. I was dumb. My thought process was really shitty. I was thinking back to this gag from Family Guy, where Peter tells the teacher that he's like, "Oh, Chris wants to plow you," and I said that just outright. I was like, I don't know how to put this, but my brother wants to plow you. That's what I said, just out loud, and like she was pissed. Everyone and she threw us out, and I was just like, oh. That was terrible.
Wow. You really had to learn by doing.
I really did. I just, for some reason, I would just say things, and it's just and it got me in trouble a lot when I was younger. People were always just like, "You're just kind of a dick." I was just saying what I thought, out loud. And over time, we're working retail long enough, the filters slowly finally got built.
Oh,
kind of thing.
Man, I'm like a repressed 50s housewife. The thing is that I probably have said more horrible things since starting Rage Select than I ever did beforehand. I mean, beforehand I used to work in technical support and customer service, and that shit got established way early on.
Oh, okay.
Also, I had a family that put a lot of emphasis on being polite. So,
my family put a lot of emphasis on being polite, but they also I was also the youngest, so it was harder to keep an eye on what plight was going on per se, kind of thing. And they always trusted me because I was the youngest and I was the nerd.
Yeah.
So I never got into fights. So if he didn't have a filter, he just didn't have a filter, kind of thing. And it never got me in trouble around them.
Yeah.
Which is why they never noticed, kind of thing. But I never had an issue like that, or like at least that got me in an awkward position where I got two things mixed together. Because that reminds me that gag in Scott Pilgrim where he's just like, where he says I know her and then I gotta go pee and he just says I gotta pee on her,
right?
Kind of thing. That's what that is. And God damn it, just reminded me of another thing I did to my brother that I did.
Wow.
Because based on what
do you
want
to lay down on the couch? Should I start charging you for this?
Well, it wasn't until my brother per se. There was a cashier. This was in San Marcos years ago. We went to this Walmart. And this cashier was hitting on my brother, and she just goes, I don't get out until 7. And I was like, well, sucks to be you.
All right.
And it was one of the few times my mom saw my non-filter.
Oh, wow.
Kind of thing, because my mom was there too, and my brother just looked at me like, the fuck, dude?
See, it's funny because I'm trying to think, but I was actually lucky because when it comes to I was very repressed, not super repressed, but pretty repressed. And then I went to the podcast school of Jason Murphy and Corey Coleman, where anything you say will be held against you. You do not have the right to an attorney, and it's all on the internet forever.
Yeah.
So basically you just had to learn to roll with the punches, bro. Like, you said something stupid where you're just like, yeah, oh, well, what's the thing? We would end up playing a game on the dojo, right? Or maybe even back as far as the loading bar, and it would be like an RPG. And I'd talk about how I need to go grind some dudes before I can get leveled up. And they'd be like, ha ha ha, you want to have sex with men? And I'm just like, yeah, all right, sure, just fucking let's go grind some dudes. The embarrassment is from you first.
Yeah.
If you say, yeah, squeezing gets me hard, and they're just like, what the fuck? And you're like, oh, yeah. Words. I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to recover from something like that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of nice once the internet has pummeled everything out of you. Where I'm just like, I don't fucking care. And people are like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "Terrible." I go to the convenience store. They're just like, or Starbucks, and they're like, "How is your day going?" Because I don't know if this is every Starbucks just hires relentlessly chipper people who are all really super nice. But the Starbucks by my house hires relentlessly chipper people who are all super nice.
That's neat.
And they're always like, oh, hey, man, how's it going? And I'm just like, oh, it's terrible. They're like, yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, no will to live. I'm hungover. I got 4 hours of sleep. And this is fucking, my computer's all messed up. And they're just like, well, I hope this coffee helps. Get the fuck out of here. And I'm just like, okay, bye.
That's the thing. When I worked retail, is I would hear the worst sad stories from people. And some of them were my own fault. One of the ones that I remember the most is this guy came up and he had, I think it was a shirt or a hat that looked like it was him on it. And I was just like, oh, look at that. You got a shitter yourself. And he's like, that's my son. And I was like, oh, that's cool. It's like, how old is he? He's like, oh, he died last year. And I'm like, for fuck's sakes. It's like, I can't win.
The funniest part is that I feel like in the okay, so if we could alter anything in human history, right? If we could go back and set right what once went wrong, I would go back to the E3 where Jason and I went to E3 and swap our appointments for when he went to go see that Dragon Cancer, because I feel like he was way too respectful about that guy's dead kid at the fucking video. It's like if you went to Toys R Us and there was a section that was just dead babies, that was photorealistic casts of dead baby heads.
I remember you telling me about that. I was like, what the fuck? Why
did you let him talk to you about Jesus, Jason Murphy? Why did you let him talk to you like that? Be like, fuck your dead child. I mean, you made a video game and brought it to this place, but have you looked around? They're showing off a new Command and Conquer over there. This is the greasy, sweaty Nirvana for video game nerds, not for I'm mourning my child. I'm okay. I'm sure it's really terrible to lose a child, but like I don't understand the making a game out of it and then making me play that game and then telling me about it. I don't understand any part of that. I don't understand that part.
It's therapy, but I'm doing your therapy. I don't understand it.
But maybe it was therapy for you to make the game, but it wasn't therapy for me, a single man with no babies, to play your my baby died game. Like what emotional resonance am I supposed to have with your baby died game?
You have no connection, is what you're saying.
Maybe if there was some choice in that Dragon Cancer, I could choose not to have a baby and to start a video game website instead, and then I wouldn't have to play the part in the game where your baby dies of cancer.
Oh, jeez.
I'm really sorry to anybody who's lost people to cancer. That's a very tragedy. I don't think you should make a video game about it.
I love how this entire question was like, are there things you've said where you put your foot in your mouth? And we just went on about all the horrible things we have said at some point, and then just added dead cancer babies to that.
I didn't get a chance to express myself. Like, it's been years, and I'm just like, why didn't you tell him all these things? Get your puppet and go over there and make a bunch of dick jokes in his baby cancer game.
We need to go back in time.
You remember we ended up playing that game, right?
Yeah, you told me.
We did a dojo for it for like Christmas or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did.
Just like, here we go. Let's play that Dragon Cancer. No shame. No shame.
That was how I first discovered that thing existed, was Jason talking about that. And then the internet discovered it soon after that.
I'm mad to this day. To this day. To this very, very day. All right. Nick writes in and says, hello, Jeff and Michael. Have you come across those phone game ads where you have to move past pins to save a character, to save a level? Did we read this one?
I don't know, but no, I know what he's talking about.
Only to find out that the actual game is nothing like that. What's the deal with those ads? Can you remember any other game that had completely different gameplay ad or demo from the actual game? I know trailers can be misleading, but showing different gameplay, I'm not sure what the point of that is. Thanks for all you do. Stay safe, and keep up the good work. That's from Nick. I don't think I read this last week.
These ads are fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
This is the thing. They're like on my Facebook, on my Twitter, on my YouTube, on my Slack kind of thing.
I'm sorry, can I take just a minute? Can I take just a minute here?
Go for it.
It's fucking Dr. Squatch ads. It's goddamn Dr. Squatch ads. It's like, do you know what's in the soap you're soaping with? It's detergent. You can't get the real man soap Dr. Squatch. And I was like, I finally had enough. And I normally don't like to tell YouTube not to show me ads because I don't want YouTube to know anything about me.
No.
But I was like, stop fucking showing me these Dr. Squatch ads. Like 2 months ago, it was that goddamn solar-powered battery pack, and now it's a goddamn Dr. Squatch ads. And then it was like, did you know that same company also makes like razors and like lotions and like other stuff, and they have like a different category ad for every one of those?
Oh, God.
So that same fucking Yeti looking motherfucker came up on my screen and was just like, are you talking about some other bullshit? And I was just like, God damn it, get out of here. I hate you.
Those ads specifically, I used to see them a lot like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And then they were gone, and they came back up again recently. And
but like a year or two ago,
the same commercial.
A year or two ago, there was like one out of every like 6 ads that you saw was that. And now it's like 8 ads in a row.
It's the same one.
For this asshole.
Consistently.
This asshole.
Although we saw a trailer for a show where the trailer for the show was the ad for the trailer for the show, which I thought was really funny.
Okay.
Because it just showed it to us twice, and I was like, okay, then, sure.
Anyway, yeah, those games are silly. The only thing that I remember, I mean, the thing is that I don't get tricked very often because, like, I do a lot of research into what a game is before I try to play it.
Well, it's difficult for us to get tricked by it because actual video game on consoles and stuff don't have the luxury, or not luxury. They don't have the ability to.
You can't just bait and switch.
You can't just bait and switch in a console game. Whereas these phone games or whatever the fuck they are, mobile games or browser games, I don't know. They're always like not even remotely close to the thing that they're advertising nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I keep reading the comments of some of those just to be like, what is this? And they're like, this isn't the game at all, by the way. It's like it ended up being like an adding game or something.
Oh.
That kind of thing. One of them was like a clicker. Like, it was just they were always like something else. I've also seen like weird fake Dragon Ball Z game ads come up on my stuff all the time? It's weird.
The ones that I see, I'm gonna about to embarrass myself to all the retail customers on Pirate Bay and Pornhub. They always have these ads for these games that are just like, you will last 4 seconds, and then you click on it, it's like some fucking city builder game, like with just like a big boob lady as like the advisor. Like the lady from The Thing was like the lady that comes up to be like, you need to plant more corn, and I'm just like, you're right, I'm not gonna last 4 seconds, I'm gonna last 1 billion years.
Yeah, there's an article where a guy just like did those. Yeah, where he like added like his rating for them. It's like, did I come in only 4 minutes? The answer is no for most of these.
There's one I keep seeing on the porn website that's like, it's like build her, date her, impregnate her, and I'm just like,
oh, I've seen that.
What fantasy is that? And it'll be like Harley Quinn with a big pregnant belly, and I'm just like, what are you all into now, guys?
Some weird shit.
Like,
and it's always like on the weirdest places. Like, there's a lot of good memes about it because they'll show up on like places to watch, like where people are watching anime.
Yeah,
like because they're not on like certain streaming services, but that will be the ad for it. Like, I think my favorite was the it was the Smithers one again, where he's like with the strippers, and he's just like, I'm just trying to watch anime.
Oh yeah,
because those ads are everywhere when it comes to like anything for some reason. Because they're like the only people who are willing to advertise on those sites.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be it was all like the dating services, right? It was just like hot milfs in your area,
single mothers or want to fuck you kind of thing.
Oh my god. Okay, listen, y'all. If you're at work and you're playing this on speakers, turn it off because we're in the like full sex category. There's one I saw recently on porn websites that I don't understand, and it's for like this thing. It's for like this pills or something. They're supposed to make you like jizz a lot. Like it's like the ad will be like a screen showing porn, and it'll be like without Boner Max or something, and it's just like a bunch of jizz goes flying at the screen, and then it's like with Boner Max, and it's like somebody just turned on a jizz hose and is spraying it all over the place, and I'm like, why would you want to have like a lot? Like, it seems like that would just make things a lot harder.
It's just kind of weird.
At the end of the day, like, what is this? Who is this advertising? Is this the same people that want to impregnate the Harley Quinn? Like,
maybe some of the ads I've been seeing are just like literally full-on animated sequences of like, say, the woman from Tangled getting fucked for some reason.
Yeah,
but they're like really well animated.
Yeah,
and you're just like, why did you take the time to make?
I don't know,
these facial features. Like, I'm actually kind of impressed by like how much work you put in this kind of thing.
I don't know. That's probably the biggest example, though, the porn ones of the just like bait and switch. Because I mean, yeah, on the consoles, I mean, you know what? The Jack Black game.
Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend. You know, nothing told me there was going to be RTS elements in that game.
It did come out of nowhere, at least for me.
Metal Gear Solid 2 was a bait and switch.
Yeah, that is a bait and switch.
Total bait and switch.
Bait and switch.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. I know there were some others that were kind of bait and switch like, but it was never fully the gameplay parts.
Yeah.
Like, even the Jack Black thing, like, I remember them saying the RTS like was going to be in there, but I just forgot kind of thing.
Or there's that one ad for that game. Was it like an E3 or TGS last year that ended up being an ad for No More Heroes 3, where it was like the kid and the alien, and then it was like and
it turned into a whole other thing.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool though.
That was a pretty cool.
I was very excited about that. But there's some games that started off as something originally and then just became something else. Like Halo is a perfect example of that.
Yeah,
it was an RTS originally with a very robotic sounding Master Chief.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Nick, we don't know anymore.
Talking about porn.
Septum Sin says, Dear Rage Lords, I enjoy listening to the various podcasts these days, so I have less time for music, but I really enjoyed They Might Be Giants, and hearing you talk about them again made me dig up my old albums and get into them. I remember first hearing I Palindrome I when I was in the car with friends during high school, and doing a double take when he says the line, "You son of a bitch, I palindrome I," which then got me curious and into the group. I did start falling away when they released the album No and became more child-centric in their music. So my question is, what song first got you into They Might Be Giants, and when did you start to fall off them? I remember you saying something to the effect of the previous podcast or playthrough. Best well wishes in these interesting times. Your patron, Septum Sin versus the World. Did you ever truck with They Might Be Giants, Michael?
Well, yeah, but only because they kept showing up in Ironically enough, like you said, a lot of cartoon stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. One of my favorite Might Be Giants things was a little. It was like a commercial for Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Mm-hmm.
That they sang like this Courage the Cowardly Dog song, and I was like, "That's awesome as shit." And then they, the actual songs that they would play on Tiny Toons, like Particle Man. What was the other one?
Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Yeah, Istanbul, not Constantinople. Was like they would pop up everywhere. Although the very first one I ever listened to, I didn't realize was them, was Particle Man, and it wasn't actually a Tiny Toons thing. Somebody had made a Flash video using Mega Man sprites to make the Particle Man thing. And so like Universe Man was like I think like Air Man or Cloud Man. I think it was Cloud Man or something, but he was like gigantic or whatever.
Okay.
And Triangle Man was they just made like a sprite that was like a triangle dude.
Okay.
And Normal Man was Fighter from Final Fantasy.
Person Man?
Oh yeah, Person Man. Yeah, he was
hit on the head with a frying pan.
He was Fighter from the original Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Like it was just years ago.
Well, I mean, like Newgrounds loved They Might Be Giants.
They did, yeah, they adored them.
So it's really weird for me because it's the same old story as, well, for me, it was Tiny Toons. And what was weird was I loved those two songs, but I thought They Might Be Giants was a fake band because the songs were so like twee.
They're so crazy.
And they're so specific to those Tiny Toons, like the animations. I thought they were like written for that show. And then I was in high school and like it wasn't until like my sophomore year where one of my friends, I remember talking about it, and one of my friends was like, well, no, they're a real band. Like the album Flood has those two songs on it. And I was like, what? And then he was like, yeah, here, you can have it. I don't like them. And then I just like put it in my Walkman and never took it out. Like listen to it backwards to forwards, forward to backwards. Now that we've talked about it, I'm probably going to go listen to it.
They're great.
A bunch now. But I was, very, 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 very into them. Seen them in concert. They're the second most band I've ever seen in concert, only because I was super into the lead singer of this local band, and I went to go see them every week for like 2 years. So, but as a big touring band, I've seen the They Might Be Giants more than anybody else. Did you know that there is a lot of jumping straight up and down at They Might Be Giant shows?
I did actually.
Yeah. I think
I saw a video of one.
What's that?
I think I saw a video of it.
Yeah.
That's how I found that
out. So I got super into them, and like I did everything. I actually, somewhere around here, I have a DVD called Gigantic that was like all their music videos up to a certain point, and like a documentary about them. I've seen all the music videos a gajillion times. There's even, back in the old days, there was a music subscription service before Pandora, before Spotify, before any of that stuff. There was a service called eMusic, where you paid like a certain amount every month, and there was a music catalog. You could just straight up download MP3s from it.
Oh, okay.
And I remember because They Might Be Giants had like 3 EPs of music that were like, eventually a lot of the songs made it onto albums, and then some of them made it onto like this B-sides album that they did. But for a long time, it was like I had all these, and I had them on my like Creative Labs MP3 player that I used to carry around everywhere.
Okay.
And I remember it was funny because they put the "You're Not the Boss of Me" on there.
Okay.
And I remember listening to it at one point in my car, and one of my friends was like, "Oh, you like Malcolm in the Middle?" And I was like, What's Malcolm in the Middle? And they're like, well, this is the theme song to a TV show. And I was like, this is They Might Be Giants? Excuse me?
I loved Malcolm in the Middle, and that was one of the other things I discovered that song from.
So I'm trying to discover exactly. No, I actually really like, in spite of the fact that it's a children's song. The Spine was also really good, and I liked that. That one had experimental film. Remember they did that Homestar Runner video for it?
That's right.
Strong Sad's student video for that, which is really sick.
The internet really loved That Might Be Giants.
The Else is good. Have you ever seen the one that was like at the end of, was it Apollo 18 or Lincoln? They had a series of tracks that was called Fingertips. That was like these super, super short, like little like 4-second songs.
I can't say I do.
And it used to be what they did at the end of their shows was that they would play all of Fingertips. It's kind of like the B-side of Abbey Road, except that you can get through all of it in about 7 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And there was a certain point where Newgrounds like chopped out each song to a different early Flash animator, and then stitched them all together, and they're all like very Newgrounds, like Colin Mockery is very front and center in them. But let's see. So the Else, I totally did the Else. I think it was I skipped Here Come the 1, 2, 3s. I skipped Here Comes Science. I think Join Us might be where no. Okay, so Join Us was where I started. No, I have actually listened to a lot of this. Anyway, somewhere around there, somewhere around Join Us. But I will give you a tip, Michael.
What's that?
So Join Us was interesting because it had some very interesting songs. The title track is called Can't Keep Johnny Down. It's got a really great music video where they basically just did like a contest and then they picked the best one. And it's like it's literally slow motion of a guy where like he's in an office and this guy comes up into the office and he's like, "Great donuts. This is the last one." And then he like picks up his computer and throws it out the window and like runs out through his office, tearing all of his clothes off, like running through the streets and people's backyards and jumps on like a motorcycle. And like, but the whole video is that sequence in reverse. Like it starts at the beginning and then it ends with the guy telling him that the donuts are all gone. And it's got this really like kind of fat ginger guy that's like the guy. He's just like running down the street backwards with his shirt off. But there is a song on this album, I believe. It's track 9. It's called When Will You Die? If you don't like somebody, and I'm not going to say any people that people may not like, but When Will You Die is an amazing song to play and think about the people that you don't like. It's basically like this very chipper and upbeat song that's about how like when you die, we're all going to go out in the streets. Everybody's going to celebrate.
I know.
And
what
I'm just waiting for the time that you die. Like,
yeah, I actually have heard the song.
Yeah,
I remember somebody had actually posted it when somebody had died. I don't remember who, but it was. We're very excited.
All right, let's see. Let's do some Discord questions. We still got a little bit of time here. Let's do a couple more Discord questions, then we're going to get out of here. We might cut a little short this week because I'm tired. You're tired.
Well, I have work tomorrow, yeah. You do too. So, wait, no. That's fine.
Rage Select is my work.
That's the thing. I was like, well, I don't think you have anything to record.
I always have work tomorrow, Michael.
Well, you don't have to record with Brian for a while, so.
That's true. IT Johan writes in and says, wait, no, hold on. There was, I wanted to answer this one. Jonathan Scratch wrote in and said, "Hey, Jeff and Michael, dude, I don't know if we answered this one before. It's been so many times.
No, it's been a while.
That SD Gundam Dojo video now has over 100K views.
Oh, we definitely haven't answered this yet.
I know because I just got a comment notice from it. What the fuck magic made that video get so much traction? Did you make a blood sacrifice or something? How high will those views climb, man?" So for those of you who don't know, our SD Gundam, I'm gonna look it up.
It's cross something.
Cross Tekken. SD Gundam G Generations Cross Rays Part 1 has this isn't here. I just want to see the video. I don't want to see this part. I don't want to edit it. 131,248 views.
Oh my god.
Also, it's got a pretty abysmal thumbs up to thumbs down ratio because I talked shit about Wing Gundam.
We did.
So the answer, Jonathan Scratch, is I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, Battle Operations 2 is at 118,000.
Battle Operations 2 is?
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. For like a month there, if we made a Gundam video, it did very well. But see, the thing is that part 2 of that ended up at like, I don't know, 8,000 or something like that.
It's at 10 right now.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't think that every so often Rage Select will make a video that goes nuts. And it is the only thing that keeps me sane because it means that the YouTube algorithm, something we did slotted somewhere in the YouTube algorithm where like when people search for SD Gundam, there was literally no other video for them to put up or something like that.
Yeah, basically like if you searched any of those games, we were like the third thing on there.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And so suddenly we ended up in a place where, because I mean, we played like Matt and I played Hyperscape this week, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's playing Hyperscape this week,
Yeah.
so it's not like we're going to show up very high. But like when Amanda and I did Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry, like we ended up being like one of the only people that played that, and so it came up super high in the rankings, and then suddenly a bunch of people watched it.
Yeah, we tried testing it a few times.
Yeah.
To see if we could like play with that. And we never got it really to work the way we like when we were like, oh, let's do this one. This one will totally do it. And then it just didn't. We were like, well, let's just play this game for the fuck of it. And then
that one would go nuts for some reason. Yeah. Like I thought that, if I'm not sure, was it like the Star Wars Bounty Hunter did really well or something?
Yeah, Bounty Hunter didn't do too bad either.
It's weird because then we did that like that Super Robot Wars X game where I literally imported it. Oh no, Star Wars Bounty Hunter did garbage. But in any case, we did that Super Robot Wars X game that I literally imported on my Switch from Japan, and like it
did like 1,000.
It did
kind of thing.
Right.
It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't bad.
But we did this newest Gundam game just to be like, well, let's see what happens.
Right.
And it only did about the same as that one did.
Right. Which
kind of thing. And we're like, what the fuck is the difference?
Yeah. So I don't know is the answer. If I knew, honestly, I wouldn't do it. I mean, honestly, this week, like, I don't know if, like the Avengers beta that we did really well. And then like last week, like the Minecraft videos that we've done have done like 500 hits a piece. So I mean, like we
don't really understand how the YouTube algorithm works.
Nope.
But honestly, nobody knows how the YouTube algorithm works.
I mean, at this point, I don't want to chase it because one, I don't want like a gajillion people up in here. I like our little clubhouse full of cool people.
Yeah.
Like the trolls all left. The general populace stopped watching. I mean, when all I have to do is look at the comment section for that Gundam video, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so glad we only get like 500 hits a video. As long as y'all patrons are good and like want to keep supporting Rage Select, like I'm more than happy to put out. Like I don't gain self-esteem based on the hits for videos. It used to bother me, but then I was like, looked at the Patreon and I was like, but no, you guys are the best. Like, we may not have as many views as, fucking Rooster Teeth, but the people that are here are goddamn rock solid sons of bitches. So
yeah, it's great. Plus, some of those companies are starting to do weird things lately.
Very true.
So I think we're good.
Yeah. So the answer, Jonathan Scratch, is I don't know. IT Johan says, hello, Jeff and Michael. What superpower would you love to explore through game mechanics? Teleportation, kinetic absorption, multiplying, cloning, absorbing yourself on the fly? What? From your loyal patron, IT Johan, who was also the person who helped us beat Minecraft.
Oh,
and
nice.
Grant and I died like 4 times. He was trying to show us how you can make an exploding bed kill the Ender Dragon, and then I tried to sleep in it and exploded myself and destroyed everything and fucked everything up. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah, it was a good time. So what kind of superpower would you like to explore?
Like it being just in
a game, yeah.
Well, teleportation would be kind of cool, especially if you could make it work in a way that like you can control it fairly well without too much like downtime, I guess, in between.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. That would be very tricky. The same with I'm a big fan of super strength, but that's in so many things. Same with flight. I'm a big fan of flight, but it's also appeared in a few things.
I'd be really interested in is like taking like most games that have a like a flash style slowdown mechanic.
Oh, okay.
It's always like limited, but I would be really interested in seeing a game based on that, where it's like you can slow down time, but then they start doing things to kind of fuck. Well, like maybe if you slow down time, but like if you move, you have like a lot of momentum, or maybe like a game where you can slow down time, but your character for whatever reason doesn't use guns, but everybody else does.
Oh,
so it's like you're always at a disadvantage and like maybe it's one shot death, right? So it's like very high. Like, that's actually, I just described super hot.
You described super hot, but the thing is that you're still not. You're still moving at the same speed as they are.
That's true.
Kind of thing. Like what you described is more like the Flash, but without the ability to get shot a bunch of times, kind of thing.
Right.
For the most part, like you've described super hot, but you can move at normal speeds.
Yeah,
is what you're saying more than anything.
You know what superpower I want is that stupid stupid Seiyu genie from the JSA.
That would be kind of fun.
I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of games that do a lot of different superpowers. You know what? I was actually just talking last week. I'm gonna dial my answer in. I'm gonna dial H for hero. That would be an interesting.
It would be actually.
I'm gonna dial Fire Force in because I don't feel like we've seen a lot of games like fire is generally just like a substitute for like cool looking power, right? Whereas Fire Force, all the fire powers like they affect heat in different ways. So like, you know, like the main character in that has his feet have fire on them, so he can fly and he can kick stuff. But like that's where the fire is on his feet. But then there's like other guys who can like suck the heat away, or like one of the characters has just like these two sentient flame little spirits that she can control. So or like the main foil, the Bakugo Fire Force is this guy, because the main guy wants to be a hero and then the Bakugo guy wants to be a knight. So he literally has just like a wooden handle that he can project a plasma blade out of.
Oh, so he's like Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho.
I don't know. Maybe.
That's a thing, yes.
Sure.
That's how Kuwabara makes swords.
But he's really funny because when he gets like really wound up, he starts to hallucinate that he's in like a medieval world, and like he becomes unstoppable when he does that.
Oh, jeez.
But he's just like completely divorced from reality when he does it.
Okay.
At one point in the like a few episodes back, he literally like used this one guy as a shield, and then he was imagining like a shield with like a really like a masochist shield with like this face on it that was just like, I like to get hit by stuff. That show is really, really good. But I think that I think a lot of games have. I don't think I've seen a game that has like really gone into mapping out flames as more than just like it spreads, right? Or like
most places, if it's more, they treat it like a flamethrower,
right?
Kind of thing.
You can set a guy on fire. You can blow up a barrel. you can shoot a fireball.
Yeah. No, it would be kind of cool.
What's that?
Like kind of like the Sandman or the Hydro Man kind of powers, where you're just like made of a certain thing, and you just like you can like have different shapes, different things, that kind of thing. But like as the way Sandman is, like not just like Knack or something kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be kind
Nobody
of a fun
wants
thing.
to play Knack.
Yeah, because no one wants to play Knack. Because I've always liked the Sandman's powers a lot, because he could grow big, he could be small, he could make hammers out of his hands, he could make spikes out of his hands, and go into vents, that kind of thing. I think that would be kind of cool.
I was thinking about if you got you were telling me there was a comic where like if all that's left of Wolverine is like a pinky, that it'll grow a whole Wolverine, or maybe somebody else.
It was Lobo.
Lobo,
because Lobo's like that. Yeah.
Lobo, like I think that would be an interesting mechanic to have, where like you can't ever die, but you can get yourself into like such fucked situations that like you're going to have to try to crawl one pinky out, and then if it gets blown up, but it'll just be like, okay, now there's a pinky, but the guards are all gone now, so now you're gonna like try to crawl your pinky out and then like slowly grow back in. Like it'd be interesting to have different mechanics that you can use as like, what if you were just a hand? Then what if you were an arm? Then what if you were like half a torso?
That would be kind of cool.
What if you were just a head? Like never dead but good.
Oh, okay. I can see that. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. Kate Josie writes in and says, hey, Jeff and Michael, I was just sitting in my house watching upcoming game announcements and looking at the next console generation advertisement, and I suddenly remembered, what ever happened to Star Citizen? The last update we heard of, it was like 5 years ago. I'm not looking forward to it necessarily, but you'd think that there would be some kind of news about it. Did they steal all that Kickstarter money? Are they hiding out on a remote island avoiding the feds? If there is no news, then I ask a hypothetical question. You raise a Kickstarter for the Rage Select video game, but it's actually a ruse for a sinister plot. What is your evil plan with all the Kickstarter money? Would you go full Bond villain, or would you create Rage Select's Death Mansion? That sounds like a lot of work.
Sounds like a lot of work. Only because like it'd be very easy to backfire if you do it in this country,
right?
Kind of thing. If we did something like that, the first step would be to not be here.
You know, the most fucked up such a vanilla bitch. I'm like, if I was able to raise Kickstarter money to make a video game, I would make a video game.
No, you would. Yeah.
Like, I want to make a video game. I had a whole idea. Was it who was I recording? It was like Amanda, where I was like, how come there hasn't been a like, you know how there's like a theme park tycoon and like Hospital Tycoon and stuff like that. What about like an H.H. Holmes like murder mansion?
Oh, that would be
where the goal
cool.
is to like kill as many people as possible, and then like you get access to new kinds of traps. But then like if you go over a certain amount, like the feds will come, and so there's like maybe a little mini games that you can do to make things go off. I got a lot of ideas for games.
Well, that's the
make
thing.
that fire game that we were just talking about.
Well, that's the thing is like if like the scenario that you've given is that we would have to be nefarious to begin with, the kind of thing.
True.
And we honestly wouldn't take your money in bad faith, kind of thing.
True.
I'm sure. Select Rage Jeff probably would. he would probably
fucking
be the one to
no
ask this
beard,
question.
hair having asshole.
Exactly.
He'd probably feed his kids with it. That jerk. I like the fact that my nemesis is a good person.
He's a good person, but uses his money for nefariously good things.
Michael, I bet all of his furniture works and isn't broken at all. Asshole. I bet all of his bathrooms function and they're clean. Jesus, what a jerk.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's like, if we were being nefarious, like, I don't know, it would have to be a lot of money to do some nefarious shit with, kind of thing. Like, we have heard some news on Star Citizen not even that long ago.
Yeah.
We'd actually had a story on it a couple podcasts ago.
Well, these are, I mean, I haven't answered questions in a million years. So
yeah, but it's just one of those things where it's like I kind of wish Star Citizen was actually like that. Because every time I hear anything new on Star Citizen, it's not nefarious so much as people are stupid with money and they don't know what to do with it.
I think the funniest thing about Star Citizen is that at the rate they're going, by the time they put out Star Citizen, it's going to run fine on the new consoles because they'll be powerful enough to run it.
Hopefully.
But the last thing they had was they put out a roadmap for their roadmap.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, last thing they did.
I think they just got over their skis, man. I think they promised too much, and it's one of those things where like you needed to do a
well, I was
elite,
watching
right.
I was watching It was an interview that I was reading about some of the people that worked on it, and they were just like, there just wasn't a project manager, really.
Yeah.
It was a lot of just people, a lot of creatives, quote unquote, writing ideas on the board and spending money on them.
Yeah.
But no one actually going, hey, let's not just scrap this and then start on the next thing. Mm-hmm. We should finish what we have and then go from there. But they were just consistently just making new things, coming up with new things, and then not actually finishing anything they did prior to that point.
If I had the money, I would buy Taco Bell and make them not take away the spicy potato soft taco.
Oh, jeez.
That's bad. I do a lot of cocaine and drive a car really fast and then die.
Sure, let's go with that.
Or get like my teeth cleaned. That would be a good
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I did a deep clean not that long, it was like maybe 3 years ago. That shit was painful.
I'm not doing it. They've been trying to get me to do it for 10 years. I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
if I let my teeth fall out, I don't give a shit. You're not peeling my gums back.
I had to do it because my gum had inflated.
Oh,
it was the only reason I even went to the dentist. And they were just like, "Yeah, we got to do deep cleaning," and it was not fun. It was fairly expensive too. It was like $300, something like that.
Yep. I did the thing right before deep cleaning where instead of like literally peeling your gums back, they just take a vibrating hook and shove it up into your gums and scrape it back and forth. And after I got done, I was just like, no, I'll let my teeth fall out. I don't give a fuck, but I'm not doing that. Like,
the deep clean is like they take these fuck off huge needles and jam them into your gums to numb your face.
Yep.
And they have to do it twice. They have to, I don't mean the needles. I mean they have to do the deep clean twice because they do it on one side. And then have to do the next side. And they stab you like 7 times.
No, sir.
To get it. And the worst part is that since they don't numb your left side or your right side when they're doing, say, vice versa.
Yeah.
When they get closer to the side that isn't as numbed out, you start feeling it more. And it's just the fucking worst.
When I was a kid, I had braces and a retainer and headgear and an appliance in my teeth, and I suffered through that shit for a decade. And they were like, let's get started on the bottom teeth. And I'm like, no, thank you.
I didn't do any of those things. Like, my parents just were like, fuck it. Here's his teeth, this is his teeth.
Yeah. That's why I have, like, pretty straight top teeth and then, like, crooked as fuck bottom teeth.
Yeah, my bottom teeth are all fucked.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing this anymore. That shit was horrible. I remember for a while my parents were just like, you should get Invisalign. And I'm like, no, no, sir. So, yeah, no is my answer. And no is what I say to stealing money from Kickstarter.
We wouldn't. We most likely would not do it.
We wouldn't do that. Yes is the answer to the Rage Select podcast, and yes is the answer to mail@rageselect.com, where you can send in your email address. And there's one more yes, and that's for checking out Michael over at oneofus.net. Oh my God! I hope you all enjoyed this. This is the worst week. I am just going to go sleep until Monday. I'm done. I'm done, Michael. I'm done.